Hey everyone, welcome back to Indicted TV. I'm your host Negra. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and follow us on Instagram. Gotta give a quick shout out to my sponsors, Royalty Honey, Keep It Hard Guys, and also LA Kush. Use promo code Negra for your 40% off LA Kush on Sunset. On today's episode, we have Sleeps. Welcome to Indicted TV.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me. Which camera am I looking at?
You're looking at me. You can look anywhere, but Bailey me.
Okay.
Welcome to Indicted TV. Sleeps.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Good to be here.
I know.
Good
finally.
to meet you. Good
I know.
To meet
Likewise. Finally, it's been like almost like 2 months, kind of, right?
Yeah, like 2 months.
Yeah. So, ready to start?
I'm ready.
All right. So tell us, where are you from? I don't mean the gang. Where you grew up? You know, brothers, sisters, mom. How was the inside of your house growing up?
All right. Well, I'm from Fontana. I was born in the San Gabriel Valley, actually the city of San Gabriel.
Okay.
We moved there when I was really young. My dad wasn't there, so mom had to move around and stuff. And then we settled in Fontana, and so I was there in Southridge for probably up until I was like 13, 14 years old. Then moved to Riverside, and honestly, between like 3rd to 4th grade, I was back and forth. I went to like 7 elementaries. From 3rd grade to 7th grade, 7 elementary. So like my childhood, I was from like a lot of different places. But like my heart was in Fontana. Yeah, that's where I started like really making my friends. You know, when we move around a lot, like you don't make friends. I was always a new kid in school, people picking on me or whatever. That's why I started fighting and stuff like that, because people are like, who's this guy? I didn't have no friends. But in Fontana, when I started staying there with my cousin and different.
So you had family that lived there in Fontana as well?
Yeah, all my family moved from like La Puente, Rolling Heights area to Fontana.
Okay.
It was getting too costly, I think, out there. And they just started like building, like Fontana back then was all country.
Okay.
Bird cages and shit like that. Like people used to clown me. Like later we'll get to that, being locked up, and say that there's like tumbleweeds in Fontana. There was nothing, horse trails. So we moved back then.
You were, how old were you when you moved to Fontana?
Probably like 7.
Okay, so that's basically where you had your whole life.
Yeah.
Once you got finished moving
my
around.
Adolescence,
yes.
was in Fontana. Yeah.
Okay, so tell me, at what age did you actually start seeing yourself like getting in trouble?
I started getting in trouble before Fontana, believe it or not.
Because the kids were picking on you, you were saying.
No. That came from moving around, like going to the different like schools and stuff. That would happen in school. It wasn't like they were picking on me. Like I wouldn't even know sometimes. I'd just be sitting in class and a piece of paper would hit me. You know what I mean? And then I'll do that, and then I'll start trying to challenge people, whoever. Like, you know,
yes.
Nowadays they say your dead homies or whatever. But I just used to be like, that, and no, everyone would just stay quiet or whatever. But no one liked me, I could tell, because I was a new kid or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The girls did, I think, a little bit here and there, but
but you were small.
Yeah. You know? I was always really, really like small, I guess, small frame. And I played a lot of sports, but I started getting in trouble, to answer your question, when I was like 5. Yeah.
Wow.
Really, really young, yeah.
It's crazy because we both have a child that's kind of that age, right?
Yeah, I know. I trip out on that.
And like right now that you're saying that, it's just kind of like, I just thought about like, man, imagine like your baby or like my baby, like already like, that's
even not even like necessarily my own son, but just like kids, like even like 13, 14, whatever, when I see them, I'm just like, damn, they seem so young to imagine the stuff that I was doing. Like my son, he'll be 6 in May or whatever, but I was already, believe it or not, like I don't know what anyone will say, but I was already breaking into houses at 5.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Tell us about your first time breaking into a house at 5.
So the first time I broke into a house, and my cousin, I'm not going to say his name,
you don't need to.
But that was like my big brother. And he's the one that was like schooling me down. So
And he was older than you?
By a year and a half.
Oh, man.
But when you're 5 and he's almost 7,
you guys were terrible.
He's like the shot caller, right? So I'll do whatever he wanted. Like, oh, fight this fool. Okay, I'll do it, you know?
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, that's how it was. And I kind of looked up to him. I didn't have an older brother. We didn't have no boys in our family. Not a lot of boys, cousins or nothing like that. So the first time I broke into a house, it was one of our friends' houses. And we was in an apartment building in Rolling Heights. But this is like way back.
Yeah,
like
before
it was ghetto back then. Like now it's super nice. But back then it was ghetto. Like there was nothing there. No money, no nothing. we used to jump in the trash cans to get cans. My grandma would tell us go in the trash cans, get all the cans. But we liked it. We'd jump off the wall, jump in the trash, and think, you know, we didn't think nothing dirty about it, and just to get the money, right? And you know, the apartment buildings, they have like the top floor and the bottom floor, and the top's where the window is. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And they have a little pole on the side.
Yes.
So we really like climbed the pole. And I'm surprised no one even seen us or said anything about it. Like, I literally climbed up the pole, went through the window, pushed the screen in, and I came downstairs, opened the door, the front door, and we went in, and we just like...
Do you speak Spanish?
Poquito. don't tell me nothing in Spanish, because I'm not gonna be able to say it.
I was just gonna respond in Spanish. Like, it's funny because, I mean,
you could say some stuff, but it's gonna take me long to respond.
Don't worry. We won't. I won't even. It's like a trip.
Half the audience is probably gonna hate on me for that.
Don't worry. You know, they're good. They're good. No, but I was gonna say in Spanish, but I'm gonna say in English. Doesn't even matter. Like, it's crazy how the way, like, you knew what to do. Like, let me just break in. Let me just kick.
And honestly, my cousin said it, because I'm like, how
open the door?
Yeah, I'm like, how do I do it? And he's like, bro, just the window's open, just sock the screen in. So I climbed up, and I'm like, I just pushed the screen in, and I went in, I climbed in. You know, we're always pretty active. We used to climb on roofs, jump.
Oh, I guess before in time, it's completely different. Like, there was like no electronics, so kids were doing what they were doing outside.
Yeah, everyone was playing outside.
Yeah.
Like, that was like the funnest place to be.
Yeah, outside.
For us especially, you know.
Yeah.
Had the garbage pail, kids skateboards, and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Tonka trucks where you could stand on them, like the good toys and shit.
Yeah, real toys.
Yeah, so that's it. We broke in, and we just like tried to find what we could find: money, jewelry. Oh, shit, so they didn't have no games or nothing except for toys. It was like toys, but we were so young that's what our target was. We weren't thinking about money really. We were just thinking like, we didn't have toys, a lot of toys. So it was all hand-me-down stuff, like everything, which is fine. Like, you know, my mom came from a big family, so I don't feel bad about it or nothing like that. The struggle's real, you know?
Of course.
But yeah, that's what we did. And then I remember, because back then, like, we used to watch like wrestling, and Hulk Hogan was our favorite wrestler, or who else was it? Undertaker, different stuff like that. Superman, Batman. And we would try to call him, and I didn't know the numbers, but somehow my cousin knew the numbers, how to dial to talk to Superman. He would be like, dial 800 something, talk to Superman, and be like, hello, and like, hey, this is Superman. And then we thought we were really talking to him. That's all we did. And we did that a few times, or we'll go like throughout the parking lot and like just terrorize it. And we stole this scooter one time. I don't even know how it started. I swear to God, like, I don't know if the key was there. I don't remember. It was so long ago.
Obviously. Had
a flat tire. It was all crashed, but we still stole it. And we were riding around the apartment, and the back tire was all doing this. He jumped on, I jumped on. We were circling around, and the lady came out like, get off my scooter.
You guys were having the time of your life.
Yeah, we were just like kids. Like, you know, we'll take remember the metal hangers? So we'll take them apart, and we'll just be hitting like people's windows on their car with it. And
that is terrible.
Yeah, we're little troublemakers back then.
That is terrible.
Yeah, and to me, it doesn't seem that bad, but even still, I can't imagine my son doing that.
If one of these little ass kids came and they did that shit to me, oh no, I'm gonna be extremely pissed.
Yeah, especially nowadays, right?
I mean, even before, like, I'm sure the lady was pissed.
Yeah, so there was a incident one time. This is what I was going to ask you. I don't know if you're familiar with like Rolling Heights and Colima, and where you get to like the border of like Rolling Heights and La Puente.
I mean, I kind of know, but I mean,
like Fullerton Road, the 60. There's a park.
I know the area.
There's a big park right there, right across from. You know, they filmed Back to the Future there at that mall. Didn't know. There's a mall, JCPenney Mall. They filmed Back to the Future scene there.
Oh shit!
I was right there, around there, and there's this park across the street. And we used to walk to it. And imagine like from our apartment, it was like 2 miles. And we would walk at 5 years old all the way to the mall.
I wouldn't. It's so crazy.
At 5 years old.
Because before it was like that, I feel.
Nowadays, like.
I would never let my son freaking go anywhere. No damn. Well, I don't even let him go outside by himself.
So here's the thing too. And everyone says it, like, shout out to my grandma, right? Rest in peace. But my grandma, she couldn't watch us. She had one of her legs amputated.
Okay.
So she was always like, you know, in the wheelchair. She couldn't chase us down. And us as kids, we took advantage of that. Like, my mom has 4 sisters. So they all had like 3, 4 kids.
Oh, shit.
They all were single mothers. None of them, you know, were like in a happy relationship. And they all lived in that same apartment building. And so like just scattered, you know, like everyone was there. My uncle, the only one of the uncles was gone. He was in Kansas, but everybody was there. So there was just a bunch of kids, and imagine
And the
an
grandma
old
was watching
lady,
everybody.
yeah, trying to watch us. Like we're like, bye, grandma. We'll just go down and do whatever we wanted. So my mom was working, my aunts were working, like no one was there. So that's what we did. We just go terrorize the apartment building, fight with everybody that was there, just do our own thing, you know?
Yes.
Go jump off roofs. I'm surprised like we didn't get hurt. Like I never broke no bones or nothing. Yeah, that's crazy. But that was like my real first taste of getting in trouble. And one incident in particular, me and my cousin we were going to the mall, and we had those metal hangers, and we took them apart, and like to us those were like our toy swords and stuff, and with the trees or whatever. And we seen this brand new van. It was like a white van, and it had like the little metal step on the side of the doors where like you could climb on top of it. And back then, like we didn't really see new cars. Like it was just a van. Like now you see them everywhere, but we didn't see new cars. So me and my cousin were really intrigued by it for some reason. And we jumped. We're like, ooh! We jumped on the window. We were like peeking through, and we weren't gonna break in, but we like were looking to see if there was anything. I think we did check the door. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you were bad.
Yeah, and the lady came home. Like she came home, and she was pulling up to the garage and seen us doing it, and she called the cops because like I don't know the area. Maybe they were racist or something, but two little Mexican kids. Like we looked like like dirty probably and shit, and she freaking.
But you guys are having the best times.
We tried to run, right? And my cousin, like, this is one thing I give him, like, especially back in the day, you said, like, how did I know how to break in? Like, I would just follow his lead and everything. But he was really street smart, so he would like think ahead and how to get away or do whatever.
Just naturally like
always like that. Always, like, all the way into our adult life. Like, he was always super slick with it like that, right? But I never was. Like, I would always be the one getting caught for everything.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of funny. So we took off, and he got away, and he was like maybe like 200 yards away, and the lady grabbed me, and she put me on her knee and started spanking me. Like, that's how young I was. She's like, don't, imagine that? And she started spanking me.
Oh, I'll be pissed.
And I was like kicking my legs, like, let me go. And then my cousin was halfway up the fence, and he was looking back at all this shit. And so he got down.
Oh, he didn't leave
me hanging, and he ran back over there and he's like, let my cousin go. Like, all yelling at her. And then
And these apartments were the same apartments where you guys lived?
This was like right next to him.
So everybody probably knew that you fools were bad.
All the apartments around there had a pool but us. So we would jump the fences and go to their pool and all that stuff. Like, all of them. But yeah, so these ladies, I don't think I ever seen them before, but he was halfway up the fence, and he came down and started yelling, so I give him that much. But then the cops came, and I was at least 5, maybe 6 tops. And the cops came, and they put us in the back of the cop car.
How did you feel? I mean,
I was scared. I think I was crying. I'm not sure. Like, I was like,
it's like a long time ago.
Like, you're gonna go to jail. I don't know what they said. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know about if they read us or right. I don't think they did. They just took us home to my grandma's house. But I got whooped for that shit.
By your grandma?
With a vacuum cord.
Ándale, cabrón.
Yeah, back then that was normal. Like, all my friends would get hit either with a metal hanger on their bare ass, vacuum cord, bout. Like, that was just a normal thing.
Yeah.
I don't even spank my son.
I don't either.
Yeah, sometimes I need to. Sometimes I want to, but when I do, it's like a calculated spank. It's like a whoosh. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Back then, it was like, like, I'll be getting spanked. Yeah, yeah.
Well, Dad, you're freaking causing chaos.
She'll throw her crutch at us, her shoes at us.
That's all she could do, pobrecita.
No, yeah, I have her right here. That was like a second mom to me. So yeah, like my whole life she was she's the one that like taught us about Christianity, reading the Bible to us. So her intentions were always good.
Yeah,
and she was never bitter. Even though, imagine growing, she's probably like 40 or something like that when she had her leg chopped off.
She was young. And
she's never bitter. She's never like, angry. Obviously to spank us with the vacuum cord. I don't know, like that was like normal, I think. But I never seen her angry. Ever, like yelling, cussing, nothing like that. Like, I would always see her happy, doing her makeup and all that stuff. Aww. So she was cool. But other than that, so then we moved, like, I guess it got expensive, and then the whole family moved to Fontana. We settled.
So everybody in the house, everybody, like your aunts, the cousins,
all my aunts,
everybody moved at the same time, same house?
There was a couple, no, not the same house, but they had like different houses. So there was probably like, I want to say 3 of my mom included, and 2 of her sisters had houses in Fontana in the same Southridge area. And then I think one of my aunts moved to Victorville. She's still up there. And the other one, I don't even know where she moved, to be honest. I think it was Riverside.
Okay.
But that's when things started getting a little more stable. They started getting married. You know what I mean? My mom was married, and then she got divorced with my stepdad, my first stepdad, when I was about 8 or 9.
Okay.
And yeah, I was doing good. Like, I was playing baseball.
Did you have brothers and sisters?
Oh, yeah. So I have one brother. He's in Austin right now. He's my little brother. He's like 4 years younger. We were really close when I was young. And then I have 3 sisters.
Got it.
One older sister, and then 2 half-sisters by different dads.
Got it.
Yeah.
Your sisters, you know?
Yeah. So my mom was pretty much my mom and my dad.
Got it.
Yeah.
I understand. I always say I understand.
Yeah.
And in my episodes, I mean, I do, you know?
Yeah.
I understand. Okay, so tell me, so you get to Fontana, you guys are settling in, you know that you start finding your friends, you don't move anymore.
Not until my mom and stepdad got divorced.
Okay.
So I would say probably like 9 years old was the first time we moved.
Again.
And then we just started bouncing around.
Again.
That is when I think I started like getting like because I have like family members that would tell me that, and I don't know if it still shows or whatever, but they used to tell me that I was always angry. But I don't remember that. You know what I mean? I don't remember when I look back. But one of my stepdad's mom, she used to say all the time, like, you're always angry as a little kid. But I don't know. I don't remember. It was too long ago.
Of course.
But we started bouncing around a lot back then. I'll say that was...
That definitely affects us, though.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't, we don't feel stable. We feel we're just not happy. Like, we can't...
Especially as a boy, right? Like, not having the male figure, and then my mom was always at work, so I didn't really get to see her till like 7, 8 o'clock or whatever. But yeah, and then I like 8 or 9 years old is when we moved to San Bernardino at that time, and then I had a little friend, right? I didn't have a lot of friends either. I met some that like lived around me in the apartment building and stuff. I met some of my friends there, but I only had one that was like, he was way younger though. So I was like 8, he was like 6 years old, maybe almost 9. I don't even really recall exactly my age. But the other friends, like they lived like a little bit further in the apartment building, and I would see them and would just play like basketball or whatever. But one of the little friend that I had that was 6, he lived right upstairs. And I seen him get hit by a car and killed by a car.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and he was chasing me. So...
Oh,
yeah, so I always carried that because he's a year older than my son, and even then, like thinking back to it, I was just like, damn, I watched him die. I remember it super clear.
Do you feel like did you feel like it was your fault?
No, at the time, no, I didn't. I didn't even understand it. I didn't really understand like death or nothing like that. But I just remember how it happened. We were coming back, and I was with the 2 friends that I had that were like closer to my age. And we were walking back from school after school, and his mom was home. I think I don't know if my mom was home or not, because I think at this time she was like a waitress or bartender or something. So I don't know. I think she started at night, so I'm not sure. I don't remember, but I know that they were home, and we were coming back, and my sister was walking with his sister a little bit behind us, and that's where he was. So he was with his sister and my sister. I didn't even know he was there really, because I was walking with my 2 friends that were my age. So he was trying to catch up to us. I didn't know that, and then it was on Baseline, and it's like a really packed, like Mission, really packed street, you know, with cars coming all the time, and obviously not as many as there are now. But me and my friends, like, we were just jaywalking, running across the street. And I guess he tried to catch up to us. But I didn't know he was trying to catch up to us. And I remember, like, up the street at the corner, maybe like 100 yards or so, I just heard a loud truck that turned the corner that was, like, stepping on it. So I'm like, oh, shit, like, what's that? So I just jumped back in the road, and I was like, you know, like, do some stupid little kid thing. And she had tried to say it was him that did that. But he had came across... And I went back into the road, and I didn't see, and all I heard was just like boom, and then I looked, and the truck literally hit him. He flew really far, like flew so far that the truck ran him back over. So it hit him and launched him, and then ran him over again.
Oh man!
And then he was on the ground, and his legs, like, you know, when you sit like like this, or you're trying to do the butterfly stretch or whatever, his legs were flat on the ground like that, and one of his eyes was popped out and blood all over coming out of his mouth and everything, and he was just shaking like really, really bad.
You still remember it, huh?
Yeah, I was standing right over him, looking at him like, oh shit. And I was just staring, like I didn't cry or nothing, but I didn't even I was just like staring at him like, what the
like, oh shit.
Yeah. So I was like the first time I really seen something crazy like that.
That is extreme.
And his sister was just crying, and my sister, and they ran back to get our moms. And I just remember the mom came, and she one of his toys they always have with them in the jacuzzi or whatever, it was broken too, and she picked it up and she was just clutching it. And his name was Daryl, and she was like, Daryl, and he was just like shaking, like obviously. And I just remember someone saying he's in shock. And then finally the ambulance came, and it was a trip because that we got walked back home after that.
How traumatizing is that, though?
Yeah, I think it played a little role. Like I don't think it was like a conscious traumatic experience, but I think definitely it had to have played some type of role,
For sure.
Seeing death. I told the little homie and a couple other people, I fed a mouse to my snake like a couple weeks ago, and I thought my son was gonna think it was cool. He's 5 though, but he liked the mouse. He knew the snake ate mice, but he usually eats frozen ones. And I fed him a live one. And when you dangle them, their arms are out and their legs are out. And so he thought that was funny. He started laughing, and then I dropped it in the tank, and the snake grabbed it, twisted on it, and then my son looked at me and looked at the snake, and he heard it go, right? And,
oh no,
and then
he's traumatized.
And then he started crying, and then I was just like, oh man, what did I just do? So I grabbed him like, shit, like, my bad. Like, I was like, shit, I thought you were gonna like that. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know. But so later
traumatizing them.
Like, you gotta learn sometime, boy.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's part of life, obviously, when you have like those kind of things. But still, like I'm over here all like I'm feeling like I feel so bad right now. That
was just like something that had nothing to do with like the life or anything. It was just like this innocent little kid that got hit. Yeah, and this is how innocent I was at this time, because I remember my mom and her boyfriend at the time, they ordered pizza. And at that time, pizza, like my son, like pizza was my favorite food. Like I didn't want to eat nothing else, right? And so I was like, pizza, hell yeah, I was all happy. And I had already forgot that incident. I knew that they took him to the hospital, and this was literally hours later. And, they were gone. They lived right upstairs. And then I started hearing them talking and stuff, and I could hear that they were back. So for some reason, I thought he was back. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, maybe he's okay now. Like I seen him literally, eye hanging out. You know what I mean? Like thinking like
you didn't
I didn't process it. And I went upstairs and I was just like, hey, is there okay? Can he come out? And the dad just slammed the door on my face, like, Daryl's dead. Bam, slammed the door on my face. And I went downstairs crying and shit. And I didn't want to eat the pizza. I was just like I didn't want to eat it.
Like it hit you.
That's the only time I ever didn't want to eat pizza. Yeah. But yeah, I just remember I was just like, damn, that's just crazy. He was just here, you know what I mean? And then now he's not. And I seen him like suffering. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was a trip. But yeah, we bounced around a lot back then. So all over San Bernardino, Rialto, Redlands, Riverside, where else? Even La Puente. I went back to La Puente, lived there for a little bit. Back to Fontana, slept in my cousin's closet. Like we had like 8, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 kids.
In one house.
In one house with my mom, her 2 sisters.
And everybody and their kids.
There was no guys, yeah, and just kids, yeah. And I do remember one thing that happened, and I don't know, I don't think it's that big of a deal if I say it, but one of my aunts got in a fight with my other aunt, mm-hmm. and we all jumped in and like started bombing on one of my aunts. Like and I don't even know why. Like I just see my cousin did it, so I did it. And
why did some stupid shit?
Yeah, it was because she was like a second mom almost too, And then my aunt's boyfriend was there, and he was like dragged us all off of her and shit, and we tried to loke up on them. Like
how many cousins? Like boy cousins? Just you and your other cousin?
It was just me and my other cousin.
And it was just the rest, like 9 girls.
All girls, yeah.
Oh shit!
At that time, it was just me, 2 cousins my age, one like a couple years older, and then my little brother. So it was just 4. The rest were girls. And the aunts, it was all girls.
Girls.
All girls. And I had one uncle, but I didn't even know
That
where
was
he
like an
was at.
intense house.
Yeah, super intense. So now I have a lot of issues with girls now. If they try to like control me, I flash back. You ain't running nothing,
come
you know?
on, get out of here. Get out.
Like I'm in charge now.
I grew up. I'm the man now.
Yeah. Okay. I ain't a little kid no more. This is my time.
I mean, you better not be having that. Are you still with the mother?
No, I'm single. I get along with my son's mom really well. We have a good relationship. We're 50-50 on everything. I do everything. I pick up my son all the time. So we get along now, but
good.
Better than when we're together. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I'm together, like I'm too intense.
Oh shit! I mean, at least you realize it.
I'm like, only one of us could drive this car, and the other one is in the passenger side. So I'm driving, and it creates a battle sometimes, especially with someone that's like used to being a boss or whatever, or independent.
Yeah.
So it creates that conflict. But at the end of the day, I feel like I'm gonna win. So.
God, I'm just gonna let you say what you say because you're my guest right now. So whatever you say, sleeves.
All right. You're like, I'll let you tell that story.
Hey, I'm gonna let you. Yeah, exactly. Don't worry. I'm gonna let you have it because you're my guest. I don't want to be rude. You know. I'm just kidding.
No, that's cool.
So let's move forward. So you are living with your aunts and your cousins and your mom. Obviously, it's a big. You know, you guys are all so many kids. Obviously, it's not normal.
No.
And, I mean, it is, but it's not.
It is. Like with I think like our people. Yeah. It is. Like a lot of people, nothing special about me. There's a lot of people that I know that grew up the same way.
Yeah.
Nowadays it's a little bit different, you know, like it's almost too hard to do anything, but back when like everything was wild, it was almost like the Wild West, right?
Yeah, like obviously
that was my heroes, was the Wild West. So that's how I wanted to be.
Like the Wild West.
Yeah, like Billy the Kid. That's how I wanted to be. I swear.
So tell me, once at what age did you actually start to get in trouble as far as like your path that you took on?
Like going to jail?
Like going to actual jail.
So I went to jail before jail, which it wasn't really like jail. It was I'll say it's a loony bin, but it wasn't It was a college, Kaiser College Hospital, and it was over a girl, my first girlfriend. I put it out there. I don't give a fuck. Everyone has their issues with when they're in a relationship.
But I mean, how old were you?
15, almost 16, I think.
Okay, you were bigger.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, I was an athlete, so I played sports. Like I played baseball when I was.
So you were a jock, and other girls wanted you.
Nah, I don't think so, because I wasn't buff. You know, like now I'm buff, but back then I wasn't buff. I was like really skinny. But no, I played baseball a lot, and I was like wanted to be a professional baseball player, so I was all about it.
That's right.
Played a lot of seasons. You know, all my friends played baseball, but it was when I was living when we were all in that house. That we were getting in trouble. Like me and my cousin were stealing motorcycles. We'd go to an apartment building, put the kickstand up, and just bring the motorcycle home.
Especially because you're already bigger.
We'd walk that all the way to my pad, and my mom and my aunt, they would just be like, "Where'd you get that?" "Oh, we found it in the trash can." They're like, "All right."
Nothing.
Yeah, they didn't think nothing of it, you know? So we were always doing, like, we would try to, like, take cars. Like, I remember one of my aunt's friends had a car in the driveway, and we freaking started with a butter knife.
Because you guys were already teenagers.
And we were driving it, and it was a stick shift, and we didn't know how to drive stick, and we're like all the way up and down the road trying to drive this shit. And then we finally made it to one of my friend's house. Cops came, and then, you know, we were always doing stuff like that when I was with them.
Is your mom and your aunts born here?
Yeah, they're all like, this is why I don't speak Spanish, so everyone.
No, they're Chicanas. I understand.
But they've been here since, like the family, I would say since like the 1600s.
I understand.
Like my mom was born in Wyoming. My aunts or my grandparents were born in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And their parents were born in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
I understand. Trust me.
No one that I even know was born in Mexico, and my real dad, I don't even know him, so I don't even know where they're from.
Got it.
So that's where I get my dark skin. Like my mom, she's light. She might be a little bit lighter than you, and all my aunts too, they're light. My grandma.
My husband is the same way like you. Exactly what you just said. That's my husband.
Does he speak Spanish at least?
No.
All right.
Well, yeah, he does.
Salud.
He does, and he understands it and everything, but it's not his fault. Just like it's not your fault. His parents are born here.
I could understand more than I could speak.
Him is like he could speak it, and obviously I see all like a little, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he gets by, so I understand. It's not like I always tell people are always like, oh, the no sabo kids, right? But it's like it's not their fault. Their family was here before your family was, you know. But they're Mexican. They're not white.
All the people that aren't native to this country, or like even Russians or Armenians, like my son's half Armenian, their families are going through the same thing now. Like my son's mom, she speaks fluent Armenian, but she ain't talking to my son in it, and so he understands it, but he's like me now. So and her parents are like have an accent, you know, and I'm like talk to him in Spanish. I mean in Armenian. Like I said, you don't know how I go to the taco truck and I get embarrassed just trying to order food. Like you want him to go through that? Like teach him Armenian. That's what he knows. If you could teach him. You know,
good, yeah.
So it's almost like just like a revolving door. It's gonna happen. Like you said, we've been here a lot longer, you know?
Yeah, it's how it is. It's just the way it's cycle of life is just how it is, like you said.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back to you. Your first time going to actually jail.
All right. So do you want me to skip the loony bin story?
Oh no, that's what we were at.
Oh, okay,
Tell us the loony bin with your girlfriend.
So I got into a fight with her one time. Like I was sprung on her. Like I lost my virginity to her. So I was sprung on her. And I was always fighting with her about like dumb stuff, you know. And she lived with her grandparents. Her dad was a dope fiend. Her mom was, I think, a dope fiend and like a meth addict. And they were out in Orange County, and her grandparents were in Riverside. So they were really protective of her. And I would fight with her grandpa all the time because I wanted to spend time with her or whatever. And I remember I bought a chain for her. And I found out, I think she was talking to someone else, another guy or something. I don't remember. And I got like crushed. It was like the first time I got heartbroken. And I was in the front of the freaking, her yard talking to her about it. And I was so mad. And I kept looking at the chain. I'm like, and thinking in my head, like, I'm such a sucker. I bought her the chain and she's talking to someone else. So I just snatched it off her neck. And he came running out of the house, you know, tried to push me and stuff. And I was like ready to sock him. He was an old man. He was probably like, 60 or something. Like, I don't know what age he was. And he's like, get out of here, like yelling at me. And I was just like pissed, and I'm like, watch what I do. And I had a knife on me. So I just took off like angry, like I was going to do. It was just a threat. I wasn't going to do nothing, but I was just like her. I didn't know how to respond to it. And she called my mom all scared. And she told my mom I had a knife. She was afraid. She didn't know what I was going to do. So my mom called the cops. The cops came like out of nowhere. I didn't even know. And they're like, put me against the wall, started searching me and shit. And then they took me and I started snapping on them. And I was in the back of the cop car and I was kicking the door, trying to get out. And I see my little brother and my mom. And that's when I got even more hurt because I was like, my mom was there, my little brother. And I was in the back of the cop car and somehow I took off the cuffs. And I was telling him, I was like this, showing my brother like I took off the cuffs. And I'm like, open the door. And he was like crying. I was scared he didn't do it. So I put it back on. Took me to Riverside General or whatever, to the loony bin they had there. And I tried to break out. I was like trying to kick through the windows, but they're like bulletproof, and I couldn't get, I'm like, let me out. I was going crazy, yeah. And then they took me to they said that I was a snapper. Like they took me to college, Kaiser Hospital, because my stepdad had insurance for that. So they took me there, and it was supposed to be a 72-hour op. But I got in like 2 fights there, and I was because I was skinny at this time. I was doing like speed here and there, like meth. I would do it a little bit, and so they gave me these milkshakes that were like supposed to be weight gainer type of thing, and I didn't want them, so I'd throw them at the walls, throw them in the trash.
Shit,
I was like, let me fuck out of here. Yeah.
Instead of like behaving so you could get out, you were just like doing the total opposite.
Yeah, I was like big time. I don't know. And then finally, after like 3 days, I started calming down, and they let me out in 11 days. So that was like a long ass stretch for me back then.
And how was that little experience for you? Do you remember? It
actually was. Yeah, I do. It was actually a good eye opener because there was people in there that were there for trying to kill themselves, kids. Like they had like, you know,
Slice.
Yeah, and they had like stitches on their wrists. One dude tried to do it when I was there. Yeah, so there was a lot of like people, and we used to have a group, so there would be like the parents would come and everyone would be sitting around, and then there's girls there and guys there, and then I'll be hearing real problems. I'm like, I thought I had some problem. I just wanted to fight.
Yo, let me just tone it down before they keep me here.
Yeah, but they literally like, you know, were suffering from shit. They wanted to kill. I didn't want to do that. You know, I was just mad and shit. But
because your girlfriend was cheating on you.
I know.
I'm clowning.
I hate her to this day.
Oh, come on. You can't be hating her.
No, I'm joking. She ended up killing herself later.
You're kidding.
No, I swear to God. But I wasn't with her. I didn't know her at this time, you know?
Oh, my God.
I was locked up when it happened in 2009. She ended up killing herself. She had 4 kids or something. One of them was blind, I think. I don't know the whole story. I don't want to say nothing because
you just don't know.
I know people that are still connected to her because she ended up having kids with somebody that was related to my stepdad, my current stepdad.
Yeah.
And one of the kids was blind. I don't know exactly what happened, but he got hit by a car and died. And she went to whoever, the story I heard, and lit up their pad and went home and domed herself.
Oh, shit.
And my mom told me. I didn't know, but she found out through family or whatever.
Yeah.
I was locked up, and I'm like, what? And I was just tripping out, like, damn, crazy. Cause she had tried to do it before too, like when we were younger, but she tried to just OD on speed. She was taking too much speed because her mom was a meth addict.
Yeah,
so
I was about to say that.
Around that shit, you know.
Yeah,
so.
It sucks how like the things. Sorry. Like now that we're older.
That way you don't feel so bad.
Now that we're older and we kind of like see like, you know, like the things that we put our you know, at least for myself, we put the things that we do to our children, like we experience, like, you know, that you as a young and, well, your mom just worked. It's not like she was wild or anything, right? She just worked.
As far as I know, but you know, like she did her best. Like that's what I look back. We battled, you know.
But like the girl, you know, she had her parents that were addicts, and she was with her grandparents, and you know that takes a toll on the child, and you know we don't like the things how like, you know, they grew up and they don't know anything else, and it's sad.
You know what? You know, it's a trip too, though, is that this is like something I really, really believe. That through like witnessing myself is that the people that have the deepest and darkest stories are the ones that I feel have like are more like put together later on in life. The ones that when they're younger they don't have nothing that they go through, then they never learn their lesson. You know what I mean? Like you got to learn your lesson sometimes. Sometimes you got to hit rock bottom to realize that that's rock bottom and this is good. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like that's how I feel now. Like I feel like shit, I was already at rock bottom, and where I'm at now, it's not so bad. You know what I mean? But some people, they don't have that. They're the silver spoon type of thing. And so their rock bottom is when they're our age. And then it's like, then they're, you know what I mean? Because at least we had a chance to grow up, learn our lesson, and get to where we are to now. We can pass on something to our kids, including the lessons, because I'm not trying to keep it from him.
No.
I tell him, even now, I tell him, like, you see these people that are living in the tents, and not everyone's a bad person, but maybe they didn't listen to their mom and dad. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, so, you have to. You have to. That's good that you do that. You know, I feel like it's how, I feel a lot of times that our experiences, we go through it to save our children.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it takes evolution to, I think, to start getting aware.
Yeah.
You know, and then like I was telling you, with smoking weed and I'll get the panic attacks, it's because of that awareness that now I'm like, shit, I know I'm not supposed to be doing this. But when you don't know, it's like, sure, cloud nine, you know, like not that big of a deal.
Okay, so you get out of your rehab, you get, not the rehab, you get rehab. What did I get rehab?
The
you
loony bin.
The loony bin. 11 days after. How's like, how are you feeling once you're home?
I'm like, I'm a free man. No, I was just happy. I was happy to get out, but it didn't change nothing. I was still doing speed. I was still hanging around with who I was hanging around with. I started stealing cars a lot, and then I just started going to juvenile hall like immediately. Once I started like getting in trouble like that, it was almost like I didn't know how not to get
because it obviously has a lot to do with the meth, with the speed.
Yeah, but I was never hooked on it, so I would do it like here and there. But when the stuff I was doing, I would get reckless. Like I crashed on it one time, and I was driving like 80, 90 miles an hour. I had jacked. I stole, back in the day, I used to be able to steal cars with scissors, believe it or not. Like the 280Zs, Dawson 280Zs, we used to take them with scissors. So I remember one time I took one just to get home. And then I kept it to like drive around with the homies or whatever. And I remember I was driving it and going like pedal to the metal. We were flying down this street and shit. And I was watching, but I had two friends with me, and they were talking, and like my mind was listening to them. And I was like into their conversation, but I was looking at the road, but I was all spun out. Excuse me. And it was probably like, we spent maybe a day and a half that we were up, and a red light was coming, and I was just smashing it. I seen the light turning yellow, and I'm watching it turn yellow, but it's not registering to slow down, you know? And I remember just smashing into this van. Oh. There was a dude in it, and I just smashed into him, boom. And he like literally like the whole van turned around, and we got away, you know, but he like flipped us off, and luckily he wasn't hurt or whatever. But it didn't register, and that was kind of when I knew I shouldn't do this shit no more. I'm like, fuck.
Oh, so you snapped yourself out of it?
Yeah, I always been good at that, like tell myself, all right, enough is enough.
Oh, good.
Yeah, like always. It wasn't that was getting me in trouble.
It was just you.
It was just me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just me. I was just wild, you know. Yeah. I had no destination.
You just did what you did. You got up and did whatever you had to do for the day, and you don't know what you were gonna do, and you were just gonna go out.
To me, like that lifestyle that I was living was, I liked it. Like I said, I watched the Wild West, and I liked that. I wish I could have lived then. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like I watched the mobster movies, and I liked it. It wasn't the drugs movies I liked. It was like the shootings. Yeah. I want to be like that. You know what I mean? That's what I liked. And it wasn't until I started going through that type of stuff that I realized it's not really all that it's cracked up to be, you know?
Yeah. So tell me about your first juvenile hall experience. What did you go to juvenile hall for?
Stealing a car. Okay,
because that was your thing. You're a little stealer.
Yeah, a cop once said, "You're a little thief, aren't you?" Yeah, I was stealing a minivan. And I had got caught a week before by the same cop with the same type of van in the same spot.
Oh, no.
With the same person. Like, I swear to God. Yeah. That shit was crazy. We were there, and they took us home. And then I ran away from home. I snuck out my window. I think I did some, you know. And then I went with my friends back to the same spot. And we're right there. We had like a bunch of stolen stuff in the van, and his aunt had did time, so we were trying to get her to help us sell this stuff. And then we just see lights hit us from the back again, and I'm like, here we go again.
So you literally just got released and left and did it again.
Yeah, and the same cop walked up on me, and he was like, "I know you," and he's like, "You're a little thief, aren't you?" And I was like, "Well, you're a pig." And I had a little bit of hair at that time, and he dragged me out of the cop car and started socking me up and shit.
Because you were like, what, like 16 or something?
No, yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Like fresh 16, yeah. And then they took me to juvenile hall. So that was the first time. And at this time, like, I'm not gonna lie, like my city, my clique, where I'm from, we didn't have no older homies, like OG homies. Like, you know, I didn't have no uncles. I was telling you, I didn't have like no uncles or anybody schooling me down. Mm-hmm. I was just like living wild and free, learning on the go, you know? Yeah. And so I didn't even know what juvenile hall was gonna be like. I seen this old movie called Bad Boys with Sean Penn way back in the day, and they went into like the system, and dudes are like, they're walking down with their bedroll, and people are spitting on them and doing all this shit. And I didn't know if it was even gonna be like that, to be honest. I didn't know. So I was like a little bit nervous about it. And then, so I ended up going to juvenile hall, and they put you in the like observation at first for like 30, I think it was like 3 days they put you in there. And I just remember taking my mattress off the bed and putting like this, putting it against the wall and just socking it and like starting to train and trying to do push-ups. I think I could do 10 at the most, but I was like, starting to train just to get ready because I thought I was going to have to be fighting every day. And I did get into fights, but that's what I thought it was going to be like.
Yeah, you didn't know what to expect, obviously, you know?
I didn't know. But they had us in check in the juvenile hall that I was in. So it was, you get in fights and stuff, but the staff there were like ex-football players, big, like their shirts didn't even fit, you know?
Big ass fools.
Big ass fools. And we had like and they would tell us stories all the time, and they'll say, oh yeah, because people would be benched up all day for hours, you know, just sitting on a bench like this, and next thing you know, this dude's elbow's too close to, and you're like, oh, and he's like, oh, and everyone's just bumping, and you know,
you're just losing, like trying to release that anger.
Or they walk by you and you don't like this fool, so you like kick them. You're trying to start a fight and stuff, and the staff will see it and they'll tell you like, hey, like keep it up. You guys get into a fight, and they'll say, oh, and they'll talk to each other. Remember, old boy. Or I seen it with my own eyes. So there was a time I was in a chow hall just to change it up, and this dude, I don't know, he just came in. I don't know if he was tweaked out of his mind or what. He just got up off the table, and I don't even know how he did it, and he made it out of the door, and he was just walking down the quad, and everyone was just like looking at him like, oh shit, where's this fool going?
Like, this fool's gonna get in trouble right now.
And the guards seen him, and they're like looked at each other, and they just took off, and they literally on the cement against the brick wall football tackled them.
Oh,
boom.
Damn.
Yeah, so it's like you weren't trying to go through that shit, you know, like we get in a fight, and then once they're on you, then it was like, all right, it's over. You know, like you're not gonna get fucked up. Shit.
That didn't happen to you?
No, it never. Good. No, it never happened to me where the one thing happened to me one time, and I didn't do nothing. I'm not gonna lie, but I got into one of the staff, and he was, like I said, like yoke, you know, and I was cussing him out. You're a bitch, talking shit to him. I mean, because I was always in isolation. I'll get in trouble. I didn't listen to them. And I flipped that too, though. But I was like always getting in trouble, and they'll be like, "Ramirez, get your ass down the hall. Go to isolation." So I'll go down there, and I'll be all pissed and shit, stuck in a room for 2-3 days, not able to read, not able to do nothing. Like, these are my first experiences.
Yeah.
All shit, because I was always angry, so I'll cuss them out, you know. And they'll get pissed. And one time, like, I guess I did it too much to this dude, and he came with the key.
He was sick of your ass already.
And he opened the door, and he's like, "What's up, man?" And he fucking pushed me, like, and I flew all the way to the back of the cell. And I was just like looking at him, like I wanted to do, you know, whatever I could to this fool. And he was like, "What's up?" You know? He's like, "You want something?" And I looked like a little missile compared to him, you know what I mean? And when a little ass kid, like, so low key, I was like a little scared. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean,
like, I was looking at him like, you know, like, I can't believe this fool pushed me. He's like 40-year-old man, and like buff as and just shoved me across the whole thing, you know. But yeah, I would get into it with other dudes that were hating.
And how long were you there your first time?
30 days, 26 days.
Okay.
And then I got released. I got drug tested. I was dirty. I was doing acid and speed again. And so I ran away. I knew when my PO came that I was going to be dirty, because he came to test me. I didn't know about fake piss or nothing at the time, so I pissed for him. And then I was like, I know I'm going to be dirty. So I was like, all right, have a good day. And then later on that night, I jumped out the window and I took off and I ran away. And I would always run away.
Where would you go?
To my homies. I'll go live with the homies, you know. And so I was on the run probably for like a couple months. I didn't like it. I never liked being on the run, though.
It's kind of intense, huh?
My mom wouldn't let me come home. So she would be like, you ain't coming home. Like, you want to come home, then you need to turn yourself in. And I'm like, I ain't turning myself in. That's how she was. So, which I mean, I respect her. That's the way she tried to teach me, you know, the lessons.
You want to be... You don't want to listen? There you go.
You want to learn the hard way, then learn the hard way.
You're not going to come endanger my house because your ass don't want to listen.
Yeah,
you know?
But I understand that now. But when I was younger, I used to get jealous because I had friends that their moms would hide them in the house. And I'm like, how come you can't be like that? You know what I mean? But yeah, so she wouldn't let me. And so I ran away. I was on the run for a couple months, and then I got busted again by same cop again, but same type of stolen car, but maybe a couple miles away. and tweaked out again. And I was with a different homie, and literally I didn't steal this car.
So you were just stealing cars. This is what you did.
Yeah, because I was always going back. Like, I was moving around a lot, so I was always going back to Fontana, and we lived in Riverside. So now I had a crew in Riverside of a bunch of homies, and they ended up getting in to my hood in Riverside. So I was like recruiting fools out there, you know what I mean? And then I brought them to Riverside. So I was like, we were here, there, here, back and forth, and I didn't have a bike. It was like maybe 5 miles or some shit. So whoever had one, they'll be like, here, fool, you need a ride, and they'll just give me the G ride. So that's what I was doing. And at the time, I didn't care. Like, we always had G rides, so I would just take it. But I'll do stupid shit with it.
But before, G rides were kind of like a normal thing.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't think.
And
which
again,
is great, guys. Do not steal cars. It's not good. Do not do it.
Yeah, and I honestly, I liked taking cars. Like, to me, like, that shit was fun because it wasn't my car, so I could drive it as fast as I wanted. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, it's not like you had license or anything.
yeah, it was like being in a go-kart. You know what I mean?
He's all happy.
Yeah, so that I used to like always have scissors on me. I always had scissors or a dent puller or something. Yeah, because I knew, okay, maybe tonight I might take a car.
Yeah.
That's how I was. And like, obviously I wouldn't do that now, you know? But yeah, so I
mean, let's hope not, because, you know, no, I don't see that happening.
Well, the one, I have one out there that's not.
That's not true. I don't take you for that anymore. I
couldn't get a ride. The bus, I was late for the bus, so I grabbed a G ride.
No, I think it's kind of harder, I feel, these days.
Yeah, well, hell yeah. They got low jack and all that stuff on it. But yeah, so I ended up going back to juvenile hall, and then this time they kept me. And then I was waiting for a placement. So I ended up going to a placement.
How was a placement for you? I feel like placements are very
I wanted to go.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I wanted to go. Like, I didn't, at this time, I was already used to like that, you know? Like,
because you were in the streets kind of vibes.
Yeah, I didn't, this is the thing, like I was saying too, like, I didn't have, I didn't foresee myself in anything but getting in trouble. Like, I already knew I was either going to get killed in the game by this time. I already knew I wasn't going to be a baseball player. I already knew I was, you know, either going to get killed or be in prison forever. That's like something like legit that I felt was going to happen.
And you were okay with it?
Yeah, I was okay with it. To me, like, it was like, I liked it. But I didn't, you know, I didn't really know like what it was really about. I just knew that I liked it. I liked that intense, fast pace rush that you get from committing crimes and being wild on the run with no rules. Like, you know, I liked it. And all the people that were around me liked it too. So that was the thing, you know?
Did you guys have like girlfriends?
Yeah.
Or did you guys do like, you know, party with girls?
All the time, yeah. All the time. How could we not, you know? And believe it or not, like, I know now it's not really, it's chump change, but back then when you're young and that would always come up, you know, and that was our thing back in the day was we would break into houses, but we would go to like, you know, not to be racist or nothing, but like the white area where the rich people were, and we would take their stuff. We'll go in and, you know, and then next thing you know, I have 1,000, 1,500 in my pocket and balling. That was like, yeah, you know, they have to work for it one day and barbecue time. Do barbecue, indoor time to hit the indoor swap meet, get some fresh clothes, you know what I mean? Go get some chicks and stuff, and then beer bong all night, smoke weed, you know, that was what we liked to do. So it was fun. It was fun. I like to do that stuff. So yeah, they kept me and they sent me to Twin Pines. I don't know if you ever heard of Twin Pines.
I don't think so.
It's closed now. So it was a boot camp.
Okay.
And I like that. I like that type of stuff. Like,
So after you went to this juvenile hall, after the placement, did you run away from the placement or something?
Yeah, because I was getting in trouble. I was getting in fights there. So my intention was to just do my time. I was like, all right, you know, like, I don't want to be on probation. I don't want to be, you know, having to piss test and all that stuff. So this time I'm going to just do good. I'll try, you know, I'll just bench it up. That's why I was saying I started like programming a little bit. Like, I would like just ignore people. I'll just be benched up, and next thing you know, I was on the top 4, getting better points and stuff. So I knew how to do it, but what I didn't know how to do was back down. Yeah. From someone my size.
Yeah. Which is pretty normal. Which is pretty normal, especially when you're in that lifestyle. Yeah. You already kind of adjust, and, you know, you already been to juvenile hall a few times. You already know what you need to do, like, to be okay.
Yeah, to survive.
Exactly, to survive.
like,
How did you run away?
I already knew a lot of people in there too. That now we played ball together. We got along. You know what I mean? They weren't trying to test me no more. Like all that stuff was done. You know. But yeah, so I went to the boot camp, and then I was getting in trouble. I got caught using a teacher's phone, dial 9 in the number. I did that. Got caught. Was in there, and the teacher walked in, and I'm like, oops. And I got time for that, like 4 weeks added to my time.
Oh, wow.
So I was supposed to do just 6 months, and then right away, like
at the placement.
Okay. And right away, and I already been in juvenile hall for like 5 months waiting for the placement. So like to me back then, it was a long ass time.
Yeah,
you know?
that's like almost a whole year.
Yeah, like shit when you're that young. So I was already picking up time, and then dudes getting into shit with people, getting annoyed by people, and then fighting. I get more time for that, and then I'm like, this. I ain't gonna be here. I'm never gonna go home. So I started like, I'm gonna escape. So
how did you escape?
So me and another dude that we were supposed to fight too, believe it or not, me and this dude that I escaped with, we were gonna fight one time. But I knew that he wanted to escape and I wanted to escape, and we were cool in the halls. So I'm like, okay, let's escape together. So I told him, hey bro, because we're at 3,000, you know, Banning Idlewild Mountains?
No, but I've heard like the...
You know where the casino's at? Cabazon?
Yes.
Okay, right there in those mountains, way up there, snows up there.
Oh shit.
We had way at the top, we escaped down that shit.
Oh.
And supposedly like I don't know if it was true, I think it was, but they used to say there's mountain lions up there, which I think there is, that there's mountain lions up there and all this stuff. So if you guys escape, like you're gonna get eaten by a mountain lion. That's what they would tell the kids. So that's what I thought, but I'm like, I'm not gonna stay here.
I'm risking it.
Let's take our chances with the mountain lions, you know?
Oh shit! Yeah.
Yeah. So me and the homie, we went to regular like PE. We were wearing our PE shorts and boots, our hiking boots, because they used to make us do like marching. We used to have to march. It was like a legit boot camp. All the people that have been there for a while used to wear army fatigues, even the kids. So it was cool. I kind of liked that, you know?
Like the structure.
Yeah, like standing at attention and like march. Like I kind of like that. I like that boot camp type of shit. And so we were acting like we were going to PE, and then we went last. And then when everybody walked into the gym, we looked and then just ran past the door and just took off running through the trail. And we just started going down. And it took us like 4 hours to get down. Yeah, it was a mission. I almost broke my knee. Like, cause we went down the river. So when you're that high, it turns into like, at first it's little pebbles, like little rocks and shit, like going down the river. It looks all nice and friendly. And then you start getting to where like waterfalls would be, because it snows up there where waterfalls would be. And then there's big ass boulders. And then you're stuck on the boulders trying to figure out how to get down. And it's like a wall of dirt on the sides of you and just a fucking drop. So we got stuck like that like 3 times to where we had to figure out how to get down.
Did you guys jump?
No, I don't know. One time we climbed back up and went down the side of the hill, and another time we were stuck, and I remember we were there for like a good minute. Even the homie was laying down on the rock because we were tired, and he was just like, fuck, I think this is our stopping point. He didn't know where to go. And I was just like looking around, and I remember I seen between one of the rocks there was like a hole. So I started peeking down the hole, and I seen like a little stream of like a slime, like mildew going down, or what's it called, algae or whatever? Yeah, going down the rock. And I looked under the rock, and I'm like, I think I could fit in this thing. And it was like sliding down at an angle, so I kind of like started climbing down. And he was still up there laying down on the rock. He didn't see me. And then I just like put my body in there, and I let go. And I slid down, and I was like, ooh. And I was at the bottom, and I'm like, hey. His name was Mario. I was like, Mario. And he looked down, he's like, what the fuck? How'd you get down there? So I had to guide him, and then he got down, and we made it. But it took a long-ass time.
Once you made it down, what happened? As far as like, did you guys go your separate ways?
No.
You just went to the streets again? You sold the car? Did you bring your scissors?
They didn't give us scissors. No, so we ended up walking along the tracks to the mall, to the Cabazon Mall, before the casino was there. It was a small little mall. And I made a collect call to my homie on the payphone. And I'm like, hey, dog, like I escaped. Come get me. He's like, where you at? So I didn't know where I was at. I just remember Cabazon Road in the 60s. So I was like, hey, I'm on Cabazon Road right here on the side. Just like get off Cabazon and we're right here, bro. So he I just seen him, like, me and the homie were hiding in bushes. We called, and because cops were looking for us.
I was about to ask.
So they were passing by, and we were in the bushes, and we'd see cop cars go by. They didn't have their sirens on or nothing, but we'd see cop cars like every few minutes going by.
Looking for you fools.
Looking for us, yeah. And then I see my homie, and I don't know if I'm pretty sure he was tweaked out, but because he was like, the way he looked on the window, he was like, on the window, like looking for us, and we were in the bushes, and I just seen him, and I'm like, hey, flagged him down real quick. I'm like, come on, fool. And we jumped in the car, and we went back to his pad, and he lived in Rubidoux.
Okay.
So I just stood there with him, and then we got, faded that night.
You showered, you got clean clothes?
Yeah, he gave me some of his, for the time being. And then my homies took him home. So they took him home and shit. And me and this fool were going to fight one time. But after that, Besties. He was like, hell yeah, that's what's up. Like we both went on a little mission together. So yeah, my homies took him home, and I think I was just like so tired that I knocked out, and they gave that fool a ride home, and he hit me up the next day. Fool, that was tight. Thank you for taking me home. Your homies are cool and shit. And that was it. And again, I was out for a couple months, and then I ended up getting locked up again in juvenile hall.
For the same thing?
No, for just being on the run. So I was on the run for that. And my mom wouldn't let me go home. So I was like back to doing what I was doing to make money, trying to survive. By this time, I think I had a car already, like I was always partying, and I was getting burnt out, honestly. So I was like maybe 17 now in a couple months, I would say. And even my homies, like, we were doing acid, and they would all tell me, because we had so it was New Year's when I ended up going back, the day of New Year's. So we had Thanksgiving and Christmas went by, and I remember this specifically because I spent it with them, and I was around their table, with their family, and I just like missed my family. So I was like kind of like
sad,
like a little bummed out about it, and I was just like wanting to do more bad shit because it was making me more angry. So I like have my gun on me and just walk outside and just be like pop 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 pop, and then come back in, and they're like, hey fool,
like what are you doing?
All paranoid and shit, like what happened? And I'll just be like, nothing. I'll be all mad and shit. I'll go back in, and then I was always doing stupid shit like that. Someone one time tried to videotape me, and with I don't know what, or take down the license plate number or something, and I'm like pop 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 pop, start shooting at them. Like that's how it was. Like I was just like didn't give a like I was just like so dark inside, because I felt like maybe my life wasn't what others made, the grass greener type of thing. I don't know, but I was just like
you were just hurting.
Bitter.
You weren't okay, obviously, at whatsoever. Yeah. You're young. You feel like you didn't have your family, because you didn't have your family unless you were inside like the jail, or because that's where you were supposed to be. But if you were in the streets, you weren't, like, you were up. So
and my little brother at the time too was like he looked up to me a lot. He was 4 years younger, so I was like his, and he wasn't like me. Like he played baseball too, but I used to always spend weekends with him, and we'd always play baseball or rollerblade or whatever he wanted to do. Sometimes I would do what I wanted to do, and he'll snap at me like, why do we always got to do what you want to do? So I would try to do but he was like my little dog,
Yeah.
So I always tried to do stuff with him, and then I couldn't even see him ever. So I didn't, I remember one time I broke into this pad, and I hate to say this, it was on Christmas, and I stole all the presents, and there was a bunch of toys, and I kept them separate so I could give them to my brother and sister. I was
you did what you had to do.
I was like, shit, like I got you guys stuff,
it's bad, but I mean, that's all you could do, and I know it's not okay, but
it doesn't make me feel proud. It was my life. It is what it is. It made me who I am. But yeah, that's what I used to do, that shit. But my homies, after Christmas and New Year's was coming up, everyone they were doing back then desert raves. So they would have these big ass raves in the desert, and I guess it was gonna rain or something, so they ended up canceling it. And they were selling the tickets. I don't even know who would get them, but I had friends that were in party crews, or that's where a lot of the girls were, from party crews. So like we would find out about all this stuff, and so everyone was like, "Oh, let's go to this rave. Let's go to this." Excuse me. Let's go to this rave, and everyone was doing mushrooms and acid. Yeah, and then ecstasy was new, I think, but I had never did it. But all my homies were like, let's go. And then I was like, all right, let's go. But I didn't really want to go. But I was like, okay, let's go. And then when we went, they're like, because all my homies knew I was like kind of a little bit bummed out. So they're like, hey, fool, just have a good New Year's. What you should do, like, so I had homies that were a little older too. They're like, hey, bro, like, what you should do, you're going to be 18 soon. Just turn yourself in, go do your time, and then get out, and then you could close your file, your juvenile file. But I didn't know that, but some of my friends were going to the county, you know?
They were telling you.
Yeah, so I was like, you know, like, I was like, not happy. So I'm like, I'll just do it. I know how to do the time. Can't run forever, you know? So that's what I did. We partied. We had a New Year's bash and shit. Everyone was like all f***ed up. And then the next day, I was watching Pulp Fiction for the first time with one of my homies. And I called up my mom on his phone. And then I was like, Mom. And she's like, what's up? What do you want? And I'm like, I want to turn myself in. And she's like, where you at?
Right
So,
away.
yeah,
Well, she just wanted the best for you, you know?
Yeah. So she came and I turned myself in. And then, believe it or not, I started getting in trouble again. So I was like, they ended up they were going to send me to YA. But because I turned myself in, they're like, because I was on YA stay. It's something that in your file, if you keep getting in trouble, they're going to just send you to YA, you know? So my counselor told me or whatever that we're going to send you to YA. There's no placement that will take you. And then a week before I transferred, he said, I got one. I found a placement. They said they're going to take you. So they sent me to, it was in Norco called St. Catherine's. It was surrounded by cows and shit. So I went there, and there was dudes in the halls that we would always be mad dogging each other, but they were separate, and I was over here. So I started fighting with those dudes there in placement because they would like try to, you know, like, flex up on me, and then I wasn't going to be a bitch, you know what I mean? So next thing you know, I'm fighting with them. Got caught. That's when I started tatting there, and I was just getting a lot of time again added to my sentence. So I'm like, this, I'm going to escape.
And you escaped again.
So I escaped again, yeah. I had a couple little homies that were with me there, and we were really tight. And I never wanted to go by myself for some reason. I was just like, hey, go with me. And they went with me, and we escaped through cow shit and all this stuff. And my same homie picked me up again.
He's down, huh?
Yeah. He picked me up again. I called him again from a different payphone, and I'm like, hey, bro, I escaped again. They're like, again? What the fuck? No, you just turned yourself in.
How long ago? How long was it?
That time that I did, probably like 6 months, 7 months max.
So, until you turned 18 or something?
Yeah, but believe it or not, I started getting like, at that placement, I was doing really good like in school because they had a school there that was kind of like supposed to be like a high school. So I ended up getting my GED this time when I went back for what I ended up going to prison for. But I got most of my credits there. Mm-hmm. So I was doing I was always good in school. Like I could do good in school. I'm pretty sharp when it comes to that. Mm-hmm. I just didn't like it.
Yeah.
So I never applied myself. I didn't want to go to school. I didn't like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that wasn't your thing.
Yeah, it wasn't my thing. So I escaped again, and then I was just on the run for a couple months. I got in like a couple high-speed chases, like 2 high-speed chases where we popped off and got away. Got away from
thank God.
Yeah. And then I ended up getting locked up for attempted murder on a cop.
Oh, so that's what you got. That's what you went to prison for.
That's what I went to prison for.
Attempted murder on a cop.
Yep. I was doing a home invasion with 2 of my homies. It wasn't really like a home invasion because we didn't tie nobody up or nothing. We just broke in. Somebody was there, and we made them sit down on the couch and took all their shit. And then a cop lived across the street.
Oh.
Yeah, a cop lived across the street, and I got in a shootout with them. I was in the garage, and I had my car like an idiot. It wasn't in my name, though, but I bought it from my homie, from his dad.
It was yours, though.
But it was mine. So they ended up raiding his pad later. And then, yeah. But I got in a shootout with the cop literally like from here to the front door, where like he unloaded a whole clip on me, and I unloaded my whole clip on him, and I got him. He didn't get me. And he unloaded another clip and tried to get me, and we got away. And then when they raided my homie's pad, he pretty much folded and said, you know, it wasn't me, but I know who it was. And then they started looking for me, and then they started raiding everyone's house looking for me. And I was there one time when they raided one of the pads I was at, and then that was, you know, I got away somehow. And then I had another girlfriend, and then me and her were like really all sprung on each other. And then her mom and my mom we're in a hotel. I convinced her mom. They knew I was wanted and all that stuff. I wasn't talking to my mom again, and I convinced her mom to get us a hotel room. I gave her like a little bit of money for it, and then she got it for us, and then she ended up talking to my mom, and I don't really know how it went down, but I mean, now when I look back at it, I'm not, mad, but at the time that it happened, like I felt betrayed and shit. But
By your mom.
By my mom and her mom, and
because that's how you got caught.
That's how I got caught.
So basically, your mom and the girl's mom called the cops.
Well, so what happened too? Like I shot this fool. Like they said in the report, he didn't get shot, so he must have had a vest. But I shot him. Mm-hmm. When the bullet hit him, he flew, like he almost fell. Boom, you could see, and so I was like, yeah. Even my crimer was like, you got him. Like, it was obvious this fool just got hit. Mm-hmm. So unless they lied, which like I was aiming though, you know what I mean, and so I thought I was gonna get life. I thought I was gonna go run. I didn't have nowhere to run to, but I was gonna go to a different state, hide out with people I didn't even know, just try to get away. But I didn't know where I was gonna go, and so I was in the hotel room, and when they had when they had raided my mom's house and they raided my ex's house, they had told them, you better tell us where he is. He shot a cop. If you don't tell us, you might not see him again. You know what I mean? Like we're not taking this lightly. Like he's armed, he's dangerous. We don't want it to happen, but if he looks at us wrong, he's gonna get shot
for sure.
So my mom like fucking panicked, thinking oh shit, my son's I was her oldest boy, he's gonna get killed, shot, whatever, So she one of my friends that was a square lived next door when they raided my mom's house. And he told me later on when I got out, like, fuck, bro, I remember that day. Like, that shit was crazy. Like, they had your pad surrounded, bro. Like, with every gun you could think of surrounding your pad, you know what I mean? And I had a 3-year-old little sister there, like, and yeah. So my mom was like, she didn't take that lightly. So right away she got on the phone trying to call me. And that's how one of the raids I was there, because my mom was on the phone with me begging me to come home. And she's all, the cops just raided the house. She didn't say they were there, but she said the cops raided the house and they're looking for you. And they said you shot a cop. And what the hell are you doing with the gun? And what are you thinking? And I'm like, I didn't do nothing. I was all denying it.
Of course.
And she's all, please, like crying on the phone. You better come home. They're going to kill you. They said they're going to kill you. And I'm like, I didn't do nothing. I'm not turning myself in. She's like, please. And I was just like so afraid. I'm like, hell no. And then my homie's like, hang up. So I ended up hanging up. And then she kept paging me. They had pagers back then. And I felt so bad because it was my mom, so I didn't want her to worry. So I called her again, Mom, don't worry. And you know what I mean? But by then, they were already on their way, and they raided the pad, but I got away, and my homies got away. And they ended up arresting 2 of them. They found them way down. When they ran and shit, they caught them, so they thought that was us. And then they ended up letting us go, and we got away. So it was like a diversion.
Yeah, because obviously they weren't looking for them; they were looking for you.
Yeah, and that's a cool little story too. But it's kind of long, so I'll just save it. But yeah, so when we were in the hotel room, I didn't really know like what she was thinking in her head, or if it was legit or as serious. But obviously, I was a kid, so I didn't, dissect everything the way she did in a rational way, And then I just remember I was there. I had hickeys on me. I'm all laying down, like feeling like.
You're the man.
Yeah, I got my chick here. I'm like in my boxers, just like, like, hell yeah, I got a hotel room with my chick. Like, but I'm still thinking, where am I going to go? You know what I mean? And then next thing you know, I hear a knock on the door, and we're not far from here where I got caught. It was.
Okay.
So, yeah, so the knock came on the door, and it was late. It was like 9 o'clock or something. And I'm like, who's that? And it was just me and her. No one knew I was there, So I'm like, who the fuck's knocking on the door? And I'm like, go answer. And I'm just like sitting there like tripping out. Who the fuck is it? And so she like peeks through the curtain, and it was her mom. And she's like, it's my mom. And I'm like, oh, well, it makes sense. Her mom's here. So I'm like, all right, let her in. So she lets her in, and her mom comes in. We had nothing but the little nightlight on, So her mom comes in, and then followed behind was my mom.
Okay.
And I'm like, who the fuck is that coming in behind her? And it was my mom. And then I'm like, oh shit. Like, what the hell are you doing here? And she's like, Reggie, it's over. I'm like, what do you mean it's over? And I knew what she meant. And she's like, the cops are outside. It's over. And I was just like, I just started like cussing her out. Like I was mad. Like,
How
how
dare
could you
you
do this? Like, what the fuck you mean? I'm running. Like I was pissed. Like fuck. Like it was like my whole life just fucking the wind out my sails. You know, like it was gone. And I was just like start putting on my shoes. And then my mom was like, "Don't run. They're gonna kill you." And she ran outside. "He's gonna run. Don't kill him." And they just came in. And I was just like, you know what I mean?
Like, what can you really do?
What could I do? I didn't even have the gun no more, you know? So I was just like, what could I do? And then they just gaffled me up, searched me, patted me down. They kept asking for the gun. I was like, what gun? Trying to deny it. And then they finally took me in. And then I went through.
Did they beat you or anything?
No.
Oh, good.
They whipped me. They hung me on a couple posts and gave me 20 lashings. No, they didn't do none of that. But what they did do is they cuffed the shit out of my hands to where I couldn't even move them, like so tight. But that was it.
That's good then.
That was it. Yeah, so I gotta say, like, they were pretty cool, you know, for that type of thing. You would think.
And how long did you fight your case for?
So this is the thing too. Like, I didn't really fight it that much because they were telling me I was gonna get life, and mentally, this is what I always knew when I was younger. You do the crime, you're gonna do the time. So
so you accepted it.
I already knew I'm fucked. Like, I already knew that I'm fucked, you know? So there was nothing I could really do about it. I was just trying to get it down a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I went to juvenile court for a little bit, and my public pretender was telling me, that I would get maybe 3 or 4 years in YA. And I was thinking, oh, that's pretty good, you know, thinking that's cool. And then they ended up finding me unfit for juvenile court. So then because
you're already almost about to be 18.
Yeah, and now it was probably like 2 months before June, July, August, like 3 months before my 18th birthday. So they found me unfit, and they're like, we gave you chance after chance after chance. You're getting tried as an adult. Like there's nothing we could do. You escaped 2 placements to keep you. You're not learning your lesson, so you're going to adult court. And I was in the maximum security, fighting in there, you know? And then, so I started going to adult court. And the homies used to tell me, like, don't take the deal. Don't take the first deal. If you take it, like, if you don't take it, then they're going to go lower and lower and lower on what they offer you. And it sounds good, you know? Like, it seems like, let's do it.
It's the right thing.
Yeah, so I didn't have money at the time, like, obviously, to get a lawyer or nothing. So I had to deal with who they gave me. Mm-hmm. And I was going to court, and I knew they wanted to wash me up, but at the same time, like, I thought maybe the person that was there representing me, that maybe he you know, sees I'm a young kid, like, I'm not, you know, like, there could possibly be hope or something, so maybe he will try to help me. I don't know. I thought that maybe he would try to help, but he didn't. And he's like, hey, bro, like, look, I don't care if you did it or not. The cop's willing to testify. We have witnesses. Like, you're gonna get life if you don't take this deal. Like, you're gonna get at least 30 to life. You know what I mean? Like, you're a young kid.
And what was the deal?
The deal was 16 years and 4 months. So they're like, with 1 strike supposedly. So he's like, look, bro, like, this isn't a joke. You shot at a cop. If you don't take it, you're gonna get found guilty, and you're gonna get life. So if you do take it, and I'm like, well, if I do take it, like, fuck, I'm doing the math. I'm set. How much time am I gonna do out of that shit? And he's like, you're gonna do 85%. I said, like, but what if I do good, you know? And he's like, that's the least you're gonna do is 85%. And I'm like, how much is 85%? I'm not good at math. How much is 85%? And he's like, there's gonna be at least 13 years and some change.
And obviously when you're 18 years old and they're telling you all of this, you're like, that's my whole life.
Yeah.
Even though
reliving, right, what I already lived. Like,
even though, like, now we're older and we're like, man, 10 years ain't really nothing. It goes by like this.
It really does.
It really does. Yeah. But you're fighting for your life. You're like, fuck.
Yeah.
15 years or 16 years or life.
And I remember I was like, man, bro, like, can he go a little lower? I'm like, is there any way you could get another deal? Like, what if I just say no now, and then, you know, will you give me a better deal? And he's like, no, that's it. You got to decide now. And I'm like, I have to decide right now? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, can I call my mom at least? Talk to my mom about it? And he said, no. So he's like, the best we could do is you could go back. And at this time I was going with the county. So I was in juvenile hall, but I was going to the county jail. They're cuffing me up, putting me in the cage, and then going to adult court.
For sure.
And so the whole bus was there going to court, like a bunch of different people. So he's like, we'll put you in the holding cell, and then you could think about it. That's all we could do. So I'm like, all right. So I'm like, all right, let's do that. So I went into the holding cell, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm like fucking thinking about it, and I'm praying like, oh, dear Lord, can it be a little less? And like, I don't know, what I was thinking, but I'm just like, I didn't know what to do. So I'm like, live 16, I did it. Like, I know I'm not going to get away with it. Like, I'm a fuck up, you know what I mean? Like, fuck it. I'll just take it. And the whole bus went back to the county.
Except
just
you.
me. They were waiting for me to sign. And I went back in there. And this is the thing, I was waiting for my lawyer. And this is when I knew I'm fucked, because my public pretender was sitting there with the DA, the judge. The judge didn't even have his thing on anymore. He had a regular shirt, and then he put it on when I came in. And they're all sitting there talking about golfing and the houses they're going to buy and all this shit. They're all buddy. You know what I mean? And I'm like, fuck, they're not here to help me. So I ended up doing it. I signed the deal. I signed it, yeah. And luckily I did, though, because
you're here.
I'm out, so.
Thank God.
But at the time, like you said, I'm like, shit, I'm 17. I got to do 16 years. And I didn't look at it like I had to do 13. I knew I was going to do all of it, if not more.
How much did you end up doing?
So it did end up maxing out, but I ended up getting a year back because on paperwork when I got a write-up, they ended up fucking up on it. So I ended up doing 15 years, 2 months, and 2 days.
Okay. And so once you signed, what happened? What prison did you go to?
I went to Tehachapi. I was there in reception. I was there for about a month. I found I was going to level 4 because of my age, because of my crime, because basically the way they calculate the points. I was going to level 4, and then they sent me to Lancaster. So I was in Lancaster on the 4-yard for about a year and a couple months, and then I dropped points.
How was your experience first getting to an adult prison? Because you've never been to an adult prison. You were just with the juveniles. How did you adjust fast?
I've heard people on your podcast say this, and they're full of shit. I know one of them, and he's full of shit. Like, he even told me one time he was with me in the prison, and he wasn't. Like, I don't remember him. But it's legit. If you go to, like, a level 4, or you go to, like, the 180s, or you're doing shoes, like, that's just legit. Like, you better, know what you're doing. And if you don't, like, you might, you're going to see some bad shit. You know what I'm saying? But when I went there, like, I didn't really know what it was going to be like, because I never had that experience before.
Exactly.
But I was a little nervous, and then we walked in, and I could have got money for this later on, I found out, but I didn't. It was never my luck. But they shuttled us all from the chain on the bus, and we went into the holding cells, and we're all shackled up. And I just remember walking in, looking around, and they had the mini 14s and the guards up there. And that's when I really, like, first time seeing a guard with a gun. Like, in juvenile, they have pepper spray. But in prison, they have guns, especially in the top. Like, they have block guns too, but when they're trying to scare you too, or like the real towers, something goes down, they got mini 14s, and people get shot with them all the time, So I seen that, and they look like legit cops now, like gang unit or squad or something. That's how they look. And again, I'm fresh 18. I was from juvenile hall to prison 6 months, from juvenile to prison. So I'm like 18 and 4 months old. You know what I mean? So I was one of the, if not the youngest ones there.
At the time.
Yeah. And they stripped us all down, butt ass naked. And they're like, everybody in a circle. I heard that shit was like, they weren't supposed to do that. But we were all for like an hour plus just standing there. There's females walking in. So it was a little bit humiliating, I personally didn't care, but I mean, it was pretty much humiliating
now
for
that you think
some
about
people, maybe. But yeah, they're standing right there, and everyone's just like butt ass naked, and they make you squat and cough and do all. I never done that before, I don't even remember doing that in juvenile hall. I might have, but I don't remember doing that. But yeah, so that was a little weird, But it wasn't till I got to Lancaster that I like really started doing prison and reception. Like everyone's working out. I don't know who's who on the yard. Like there's like different levels of classification scores where some people are level 4, some people you don't even know where you're going yet. Level 4, level 3, you don't even know. You know, so is everyone's programming. And then when I went to Lancaster, I knew it was a level 4. So then I started hearing from people that have done time or been more experienced telling me level 4 is where it's at. That's where like all the lifers, that's where it's, you know, active, like all this shit. And I didn't know if they were going to try to use me as a puppet. Like I didn't know none of that stuff.
I'm sure it's like super scary.
Yeah.
Thinking about it.
No, for sure, for sure. But luckily there was a homie that went with me too. And he was like a G. He was from Compton. But he was like 30-something years old. And I remember I was like 130 pounds. And he was right next to me, like probably like 210, like on swole, tatted and shit. And I'm like, hey, bro, what's it like here? You know what I mean? I'm like asking him, like, hey, what's it like here? And shit. And I'm like looking around. He's like, hey, dog, it's cool. You'll be good, little homie, you know? You're going to like it. It's female. Don't even trip.
It all depends on you.
Yeah, like just mind your own business, you know? And you'll be good. And they put us in the same building. So he used to draw pickups, and right away, like I was cool with him, and I started bonding with him. You know, like he like put me under his wing. Yeah. And then my first Sally was an older homie. He was a lifer. He got struck out, believe it or not. He's like 48. His wife was like 25. Fine. And I'm like, damn, how this will get this fine ass shit? Yeah.
Did you tell him that?
Yeah.
He was probably like, what the fuck, fool?
So I used to see him at this time. I'll get visits, and I would see him and visit, and him and like another homie's wife, they would always get visits together, and they couldn't believe I was old enough to be there. And their wives would be like, what's up with this little kid? Like, what did he do? And they'll tell me like, sleeps. Tell her how much time you're doing, dog, or how old are you, dog? And they'll tell me in front of their wives, and they'll be like, oh my God, that's so sad. And take care of him. They'll tell him like, hey, watch out for him. Make sure he doesn't.
He's okay.
Yeah, that he doesn't do nothing bad. And like, so luckily for me, like there was a lot of older homies, and at this time, they like you couldn't recognize good or bad. You could recognize like if someone's trying to mislead you or use you, you could spot it. But I didn't really understand the game back then. So at this time, homies, like I was just by myself, and I'll have my glasses on, and I'll have the lokes, you know, baggy ass pants and shit. I was gonna bring a couple pictures to show you, but I had baggy ass pants, all creased down still in the day room at nighttime, wearing them like this in the day room, just like looking around, not knowing how to go meet anybody. I met people like just like high and by, but I didn't know how to
approach,
like really like get close to them or nothing. So I was just like doing my thing, and they were watching me too. So then they started inviting me, and they're like, hey dog, come over here, sit with us, come chill right here. And they're like, sit down, we're gonna run you down things. And they started telling me the rules.
How
stay
the
away from
program
this,
went, yes.
you know, stay away from that.
Which was good.
Yeah, don't fuck with people that do this or do that, and you'll be good, you know, like where you from? They'll tell me all that stuff, and next thing you know, like they were my circle. So because they were schooling me down, and I liked their energy, and you know the way I looked at it, and they would tell me too, like, damn bro, like you're my son's age, or you're younger than my son, like fuck, you know, like. So I looked at it like, and they didn't have I would be like, where's your son now? You talk to your son, or you cool with your son, or whatever.
And you didn't have your father figure either.
And I didn't have one either. Not that I was like, daddy, you know,
obviously.
Like, but yeah,
no.
But it was
it's something that you needed, probably.
Exactly, for sure. Like when you're lost as a kid, like as a boy, you can't learn that from your mom. And I tell my mom this, you know, love her so much. I tell her this all the time too. Like, I know you did everything you can, but you could never teach me how to be a man. And even with my son's mom, I tell her too, like, don't battle me, you know, like when we're splitting up, you ain't taking my son from me. He needs me just as much as he needs you, you know, even more so because he's a boy. So once he starts learning that he is a boy and going through these emotions, puberty and stuff, he's going to need me there to guide him, because then he's going to just be confused, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so they guided me right. I started kicking it with them, and, you know, I probably reminded them of their son that they didn't have a relationship with him, and then they reminded me of the G that I always wanted to school me down. You know, so that I kicked it with them. I celled up with those dudes, and I didn't fuck with dudes my age. I didn't talk to no one. There was a couple homies that were my age that would play basketball with me or handball or whatever that I was cool with, but for the most part, it was all the older homies. They were teaching me how to draw. You know what I mean? Like I didn't fuck with dope or nothing like that. Like I was just like, I was ready for whatever, but at the same time, I kept it in my mind that at the end of the day, I have a date. And everybody that I was around, a lot of them didn't.
Got it.
They didn't. So right away, like in the beginning, like you said, Corey, I'm thinking, shit, I got a whole nother life to live, and can I do it? Like thinking life is over. But once I met a lot of these fools, I knew life's over for them.
For them.
Like I got a date, you know what I mean? And
yes.
They would tell me like, hey dog, I know that it seems like a lifetime away for you, that you're never going to get out, but the time goes by fast. It's like they're our age now. So they're like, the time goes by fast, bro. And before you know it, you're going to be home. So just do your program, play your sports, do your drawings. Some shit happens, be ready to get in it, you know? Don't be no lame. Don't cause don't waste the space here. But at the same time, watch, like everywhere you go, like, cause even when I left, they're like, hey fool, don't go down to the level 3 thinking that you're badass cause you're on a level 4. Go down there just like it's your first place. And every yard's different, and just watch, like sit on the yard and pay attention to everything. And then you learn who's who, what's what.
For sure.
So that's what I'll do. And I would wear my looks all the time because I didn't want them seeing where my eyeballs were. And I'll just be watching everything like to learn, you know?
Yes.
And then I would play my sports to stay active. And I would only fuck with the dudes that I seen that they had a good style. And they weren't like slam back on the yard or like trying to impress people, you know? Like
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I've ever been in prison with males, obviously, but just in general, because that behavior
the females don't do stuff like that?
No, not really.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm sure they don't go like that. They don't have no mustache.
Not anywhere I've been. I just mean even out here in life, you could tell who's who by the way they behave, by their, you know?
Yeah.
So obviously in there, they have to be a little different, like more, you know, so that's good that they taught you all of that, because it definitely helped with your time that you don't fuck yours off.
The older homies back then were G's. Like these fools weren't like lame ass fools that been on the same yard for 20 years, same cell 10 years. They weren't like that. Like these fools were just as low ride. They called it low riding. They said when you're locked up and you got the big, they're like, damn, look at this fool low riding and shit. You got big ass pants on, but that's how they were too. They'd have their lokes on with their hood on their lokes. You know what I mean? Their little coffee mug and shit, like all, you know, they were gangsters with it. They look like the drawings, you know, big ass whips and shit. So that's not like that no more. Times have changed.
And they're going to continue to change.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, watered down big time, right? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to say watered down. It's just that it's completely different. Like those people are already viejitos, and it's like our age is them.
Yeah. I always say, like, I'm happy that was the first place I went to. I always say that, like, I can name every prison, every yard. I was going to
ask you, tell us all the prisons that you went to.
I'll just name them. So I was in Lancaster from 97 till 2000, 97 to 98. From, I went to Tehachapi in January, February. So I think March of 97 till May of 1998, I was in Lancaster. And then I dropped points. So I had 58 points, and then I dropped to 51 points. They take 7 away a year. So I went to level 3. And everyone's like, you're going to like level 3, dog. You got night yard, you know what I mean? Like more program. And in Lancaster, we didn't have a lot of program. We had like a couple hours a yard. That's it. And night day room, that's all. And then so I went to Centinela. They sent me to Centinela. I was there, and I was on the yard that they always turn. And this yard is like, for years, they've always flipped it back and forth from a 3 to a 4, 3 to a 4. It's always good. 3 to a 4, 3 to a 4. And I was there for 8 months, and they flipped it to a 4. So they gave us an option to go to Pleasant Valley or Ironwood. And I wanted to go to Ironwood before Centinela. They give you 2 options whenever you transfer.
Okay.
My first was Ironwood. My second was Centinela.
And why did you want to go to Ironwood?
Because everyone told me Ironwood was better.
Okay.
More program.
Got it.
Everyone told me Ironwood was way better. Go to Ironwood. So when they from Lancaster, I'm like, I want to go to Ironwood.
Got it.
And they sent me to Centinela. And then now Centinela was flipping to a level 4. So I'm like, I want to go to Ironwood. And they sent me to Ironwood. Luckily, I lucked out, and I went to Ironwood. But it was so loose. Like I started drinking Pruno all the time, like smoking weed all the time.
So things started changing for you.
Oh, man, it was like,
Party.
I loved Ironwood. Like, I wouldn't. I almost said like I would fucking chill there right now, but I wouldn't.
God forbid.
Like, yeah.
God forbid.
That shit was cool though. Like Ironwood was fun.
But you were doing your time, and obviously, if you're doing time, that's where you kind of want to do.
I hear a lot of people on here, and they say, "Oh, I was in Ironwood, and like it's a notorious ass prison." It's cool. Shit happens. Shit happens everywhere.
Everywhere.
But Ironwood was a fucking program prison. You got, well, at least it was when I was there, and I was there from 1999 to 2002. And I went to the hole like 3 or 4 times there for dumbass shit. Not some was serious shit, but a lot of it is dumb shit too. But there's so much program there. You got all these vocations there. Like you like probably smashed one of the guards there. Like
Wait, let me tell you, did you smash one of the guards or what?
Almost. There was one situation I almost did. I looked her up when I got out. I'm like, shit, I want to smash that chick. She was fine.
Wait, so throughout out of these prisons,
you never see pretty COs.
Really?
Towards the end of my time, they started popping up. But in the beginning, they were all, no disrespect to anybody, but they're all butch.
Got it.
They looked like they could smash some of the male guards.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's intense.
Yeah.
So throughout all your 16 years, you never smashed the guard? Almost. No. Hey!
I'm out of here.
See, I didn't even know you were here. Wait, I knew somebody was here, but...
Been here like 2 hours.
Sí, tampoco te pases, güey.
No, I came close. I came close. I don't even know like how to tell the story, to be honest. But there was this guard. I won't say her name, but she was cute. She had dimples. She had tattoos all over. One of the homies I know, he was supposed to come with me too today because he did 15 years too. He's a good homie. We both were trying to smash her.
So you were there with him?
Yeah, well, yeah. And she used to come. She's always like flirty with us. Never like trying to fish for information. Nothing.
Just
like,
nice.
Yeah.
Just nice.
Like big time flirty. Like come peek at me in the shower.
Damn.
Yeah, like that.
Chick, huh?
Yeah. But she was fine. Like she was like 24, 25.
She was young.
Yeah.
Did you have pen pals?
For a minute I did. I had my chick when I went in, and then we ended up breaking up because of me. I was like super asshole. But then there was probably like 7 years. I mean, I wrote a bunch of girls from prisonpenpals.com.
Oh shit!
Yeah, but they were all like chicks that weren't doing nothing, weren't going nowhere. Not that I wanted somebody like, to wife up or nothing, but they had no convo.
Got it.
They had no combo, or sometimes they were more gangbanging than me in the letters, and I just wasn't attracted to that.
Yeah, I get it.
So I just like either fall off or they would fall off or whatever. There was a couple my sister would try to hook me up with, but those are I mean, when you're doing a long ass time, how do you really keep someone? You know, it's kind of hard. And the crazy thing is, towards the end of my time, my girl that was in the hotel room with me ended up leaving her husband for me.
Oh shit!
And she started like hanging with me tough for like the last 4 years of my time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I was with her for the
she used to go visit you and stuff?
She started visiting me like every other weekend.
Oh.
Like sometimes 2 days. Yeah. She was like, yeah.
She cared.
Yeah, she was. She's a little crazy now. I still talk to her here and there.
Hey, I mean, she was there for you.
She's cool,
For a little bit. 4 years is 4 years, bro.
Yeah, we just had like differences, like stuff that was different with her, different with me, that we couldn't really mesh together. But,
which is okay.
But we're still cool. Like I still wish her the best, and I'm sure the same goes both ways. But that was pretty much the only one, to be honest.
And because you're a tattoo artist.
Yeah.
Throughout your whole 15 years.
Tat on you.
I'm down.
Okay.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah, I'm serious.
Okay.
I'm down. We'll set that up because I do want to.
Okay.
Throughout all these years, you tattooed this whole time?
No, actually. Like I would draw. I started drawing, but when I went, I sucked at drawing.
Oh shit!
But I would sit there and watch the homies drawing all the time to get better. And I would just study everything they did. I had nothing else to do. And then I would try to draw my mom a card for Mother's Day, for Christmas. And they still have some of them. Like they're like, no, it looked like a 5-year-old drew them. But at that, to me, they kept them because they cared that it came from the heart, right? So, yeah. So no, I didn't really start tattooing until I would say maybe like the last year and a half.
Oh.
And don't get me wrong, I had moments where I practiced, but I was so bad that I was like, I'm not gonna do this no more. Like I tatted on the homie's chest, his hood, and it looked like I fucking burned him with a magnifying glass or something. It was all pussy and white, and none of the ink stood. Like I never could figure out, was it the needle? Was it the ink? Was I going too deep, too fast? I didn't know. And no one was really teaching me how to do it. I was just doing it. I was sharpening needles on the ground. It was like the sanitary level in there. I mean, maybe it's better now, but it was all bad. All bad. But yeah, I picked up a couple cellies that I had that it just scared me because I liked them. So I felt bad too that I was doing work on them that was all bad. That they weren't going to brag about, you know? So I stopped. But as I started getting better and better, like I started realizing I was getting a little bit good because people would be like, damn, do me a paño, or do me a card or whatever. And I was like, all right. But then they started asking too much. And so a lot of times they wanted a card for someone that they talked to from prisonpenpal.com. So it was like, bro, like, you just met this chick. You want me to spend a week on a card for you? Like, so I started not telling people what I drew because I'm the type of person that it's like if I'm with a homie, even now, like if it's a really, really good homie, obviously got to pay the bills, right? But if it's a really good homie, it's hard for me to even want to charge them. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, I know everyone's struggling. So I'm just like, bro, I got you. Don't trip. Give me whatever you can.
You want.
And that's how I was in there,
like,
too.
I'll tip you.
Yeah. Like, bro, that should better be like $150 tip. No, but that's how it was. And a lot of times, like, they wouldn't tip. You know what I mean? And sometimes they would, like, for a paño or whatever, they'll offer something. But even still, like, they'll be like, hey, fool, I'll shoot you something if you want me to. And I'll be like, nah, fool, don't trip.
Even though you wanted it so bad.
It took time. So sometimes, like my grandma, and I always felt bad for this. And I did a badass portrait for her later. But she asked me for a drawing one time. And I was always so consumed with stuff I was doing in there that sometimes I wouldn't draw because I'll just be stressed out or not really in the mood to draw. So the way I thought about it, like, if I'm not even drawing for my mom or my brother or sisters or my grandma, what makes you think I'm going to want to sit here for 2 weeks to draw for you? Not to sound like a dick or nothing, but
it's true.
That's how I felt. I'm like, bro, like, you learn how to draw. Like, I didn't know how to draw. Like, when I came in, like, why you stop, you know? Come on, bro, like, do something. They used to say, do something with your shitty ass life. They would say, like, come on, bro, go do something and stop doing dope all day. Like, go draw. Like, learn how to draw. It's not that hard. I'll shoot you the pattern, you know? But yeah, so I didn't. And then once I was about to get, like, I knew, so I didn't even know I was going to go home. Obviously, I had a date, you know, but you never know what's going to happen. So I didn't want to like count on something and it doesn't happen. And then I'm super depressed, you know, or stressed out. And they had three cases that one of my crimies took a plea bargain on, and they were also attempted murders that he plea bargained for. And, you know, they tried to charge me for that in the beginning. They never did. So I didn't know if they were going to wait till I was about to go home.
And then pick you up.
And then pick it up. Because I would see dudes all day long go back to the county for new charges. Or they'll be like, hey, I'm 2 weeks to the pad. And next thing you know, back in the county for a new charge. So I didn't even want to think I was going home. But once I started getting closer, in the back of my mind, I'm like, shit, like, I only got like a year and a half left, you know, a year left. And then I need to have something to do. Like, I don't even know what life is like out there. Like, I don't have no job skills, no nothing, you know? So I was like, shit, well, so at this time I started watching, what's that shit, New York Inc., LA Inc. and stuff on the Learning Channel. And then Ironwood is another thing. I went back to Ironwood years later, and I ended up paroling.
So how many prisons did you go to?
All right, let me name them before we forget. So I was in Lancaster, Tehachapi Reception, Lancaster, level 4, Centinela, level 3, Ironwood, level 3. Stood there for about 4 years. Then I picked up a shoe there, and then I went to New Corcoran, SAT-F, which is the 180, picked up a shoe there, and so I was in SADF for 4 years.
Okay.
They were in-house shoes, so not to mislead anybody. And then from SADF,
The way you say it.
yeah, I don't have to be like, doing the shoe. Like I did shoes, in-house shoes, but because shoes were so packed out at this time, if you didn't have over a year shoe, you did it there.
Okay.
In AdSeg. So I did them there. One was for manufacturing deadly weapons, and the other one was for doing.
Yeah.
So anyways, I went to New Corcoran. I was there for 4 years, and then when you're on the 180, you do 3 years clean without like getting a write-up, then you could transfer.
Oh, okay.
Even if you have level 4 points, they just send you to a new one. So you can switch up your time, make it go faster. So I wanted to go. And then I went to Calipatria.
Got it.
So I was in Calipatria for 4 years there, and I had a couple homies there with me, so it was cool there. And I liked it. And Calipatria is a notorious-ass prison. And I was there after they had that big-ass riot that they had. And one of your dudes was here talking about it, and he wasn't there. I know for a fact he wasn't. Because he mentioned someone that was my cellie that was there, that I was there with him in the same building, and we didn't know who that fool was. I'm like, hey, fool, you know this fool? He's like...
I mean, I don't know who you're talking about, and I don't even want to know.
I won't tell you on camera, but he wasn't there. I'm like...
So tell me, obviously this is the main question.
And then Ironwood, and then I paroled from Ironwood.
So this is the main question I always ask just for fun, right? What was the craziest thing?
I knew you were gonna ask that.
I have to. It's stabbing. Like, it's just like the craziest thing.
I won't tell you like what it is. Like everyone knows prisons.
Yeah, everybody knows that.
Is fucking people get stabbed in prison. People, PC up in prison. That's no secret. Like,
yes.
It's not fucking revealing, top secret information. That happens, I one of the craziest things as far as that goes is there was a couple people that I knew that were in the cell stabbing each other over something that was like really could have been avoided. That one was like basically trying to ruin the reputation of another, and then they went at it in the cell and with weapons, and they one got hit like 4 times, and the other one got really hurt really bad. I think he went blind in one eye and lost the movement of one of the arms, and that was intense because everybody was in the day room watching, and the windows are super small, so we were all like just like staring over there, and like not trying to look because no one wants to give it away that something's going down, But
it's intense to you, like inside of you.
But
like
you just
watching.
see them in there, and their arms are like this, and they're like bouncing, and they're like faced off. It's almost like cockfighting. Like you see the roosters going at it, and it's pretty much like to the death at that point. If you got one and I got one, and you're in there going at it, like you don't know if you're gonna get me or I'm gonna get you. You don't want to turn your back, take your eyes off of me, and that's how they were. They were just like staring at each other, like bouncing. They didn't want to go, but they had to go. So that was one of the most intense things.
It always breaks my heart because it's just what it is. And, the young men are out here and they're just, some go in there like not knowing anything and they just come out worse. And it's just like, it's just sad, but it is what it is, and it just is what it is, and it makes me feel so sad. Like my eyes get watery because it's just like happens to so many people.
A lot of them don't know better, and the thing is too, like so you don't really make a difference, or no one really their intention. I'm talking about the people that should be reforming you, guards, the instructors for vocations. Anybody in the system, counselors, no one, they don't have the intent. Like you're basically like a lost cause. It's up to you to reform yourself. So you have to have the intent. And if no one's schooling you down to do that, if you don't have the, somebody that you're looking at that you want to do that for, it's not going to happen 9 times out of 10. And if you're growing up in the system from the halls, maybe even like there's some people I've heard too, and even that I knew that they were going in juvenile hall when they're like 10 years old. And I was getting in trouble that young, but I wasn't going in the halls that young. So it's going to be hard for them to change the game. And some of their parents, like my ex that ended up killing herself, their parents were fucked, So like, who's going to teach them? Who's going to tell them like, hey, you know what? Do better. And luckily for me, my mom always did tell me that. She always did tell me, you know what? Like, I want you to do good. I want you to have a family. I don't want you to be in there in prison, like you're too smart for that place. Like, there was a time I was in the hole And I told this to someone the other day, and my eyes got a little watery. I was like a little bit sad, but I'm gonna try not to now. But there was a time where I was in the hole, and it was for when I caught my first shoe, and I was in Ironwood, and I wasn't getting out at this time. And me and the homie that were Sally's, we were working out. I didn't even expect a visit, and when I didn't even tell my mom I was in the hole, because in the beginning when I was telling her I was going to the hole, it was like when I was on the run on the streets.
She didn't want to talk.
She didn't want nothing to do with me. She's like, and she didn't understand. I'll try to explain to her, I gotta survive in here. Like I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm just trying to live my life. Like I don't even thinking about you. I'm just thinking about how to survive. You know, in here, like. Don't take it. Why you gotta punish me? Why you gotta not send me money? Like who else is gonna do it? You know what I mean? Like and thing, I wasn't trying to sell drugs or none of that shit in there. Cause if something goes wrong, I'm not just letting someone burn me. You know what I mean? So the way I looked at it was, I'm just not gonna do it. I'll smoke my weed and shit, but I'm just not gonna do it. Put myself in a situation where with some dope fiend ass fool where he's thinking that I'm a bitch.
All these men thought like that.
Yeah, so I mean that's something that I would say about myself is I've always been a little bit strategic in my thinking that way. I wish I would have did it sooner, to be honest. I didn't really start doing it until things got real. Bad. So I really hit rock bottom.
Okay, so sorry. So tell us about when you were working out with your celly.
So like I backtracked because my mom didn't know. So usually she wouldn't send me packages, visits, or nothing. So I learned to just not tell her. So I'll go do my whole time or whatever and get out and still get packages, newspaper, whatever. So I was working out and my celly was working out and they called me for a visit. And I was in the hole, excuse me. So I had a bird bath real quick and I'm like, fuck, who the fuck is visiting me? And then I went to the visit. I'm all shackled down the hole. You got to wear the jumpsuit. And they shackle you down around your waist, your arms and your legs, like if you're going on the bus, Mm-hmm. And so I remember I'm walking to the visiting room, and they have it's behind glass, and I remember I remember like I looked through and it was my mom. It was my mom and my stepdad and my little sister, and I see my little sister grow up in prison. Mm-hmm. I have pictures of her when she was little. She got bigger and bigger. You know what I mean? Like I seen her grow up. I met 2 nephews when I got out, but so I went in there and she just like looked at me, and because the way I was, like, it wasn't because I was in the hole. It was because I was chained down like that. She just started crying. So I was just like, fuck. And I didn't do it in there, obviously, because you can't really show that type of weakness in there. But I remember I had to look away from her. I was just like, fuck. I was just looking away like this. I didn't want to take off my cuffs and shit. I was just like, man. And she just like walked away from the table. She didn't want to look at me. And my stepdad was there. And then I was just like, she's like, what the fuck? What did you do? She didn't cuss or nothing, but she'd always pray with me, And yeah, that was like a something I realized, like, fuck, man, I'm really putting my mom through some shit,
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of one of the things that really started getting me to not be so selfish and think, like, obviously you got to live life. You got to do what you got to do. You got to stay on your toes and, walk what you walk. Like you do something, you got to, own up for that shit. Right. You can't like run from it or, basically like cower. You got to,
Yeah.
You did it, you got to do it. But while you do it, like, play it smart. Like, that's just like my advice to anyone. Like, you're going to do something, don't be a bitch and try to blame others for this is why I did it. Like, you know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Especially when you're an adult.
Yeah, but I realized that. So I'm like, all right, I got all this time I got to do, like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it the way I know how to do it. Like, I've already learned how to do it, but I'm just going to play it smart. Things ain't as serious now as they used to be. Like, I don't have to prove nothing now as I did felt like I did when I was younger. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm going to just mind my own business, stick to my drawings, play my basketball, and hopefully I'll make it out.
And that's how you did your whole time.
That's how I did. The first 5 years of my time was back and forth, getting in trouble, like trying to do shit, trying to, make sure everyone knew that I'm not just a programmer, like, you know what I mean? That was, and then once I started like getting like really like stacking up my time, like maxing out my time and stuff, that's when I started realizing like, fuck, man, like this isn't a life sentence for me. Like I don't have to, you know, dedicate my whole life to this shit. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, to each their own. I respect everyone's decision, but I wanted to be out. Like I've been in the system for a long ass time, and the way I looked at it, and I had G homies. Like I'm talking about motherfuckers that fools on the yard are swinging on their nuts. Tell me, hey dog, you make it out here. If you make it out, stay out, fool.
That's
Do
right.
your thing. Like you've been in here long enough. Like I know you're a good ass homie. You're solid. Like I know what's up, dog. And I wouldn't tell my son not to. I'm not gonna tell you not to. Like I got love for you. Like stay out, dog. Like you're a smart homie.
That's love. I think that's love. You know, that's love. That's real love.
I had a homie, and I told him I wouldn't talk about him. His name's Boxer from Verdugo. He's a good homie, really good homie.
I told him I want to talk about him. You're all saying his name.
Boxer from Westside Verdugo. he's like a brother to me. You know, he's like cool ass motherfucker.
Hey, y'all, you told me not to talk about you, but here I am.
He did 30 years. I was gonna try to bring him because his story is way more powerful than mine, and he's a good dude, and he's not like everything I knew about him was like he was a writer too. You know, like he's not someone that will not fuck you up if some shit happens, you know, but he's got a heart, but he was also knew how to do his time. And there was something that ended up happening with me and him. We were cellies for a good minute, and he's like, hey bro, like I just want you to go home. He's like, I'm never gonna go home, so let me carry the weight of this. You are gonna go home. And
Aww.
like I haven't seen my mom in 10 years. Like I haven't seen my brother in 10 years, and fuck, it is what it is. I hope I could see him, but if I don't, like I already know what's up. Like I'm never going home. And he's home now, but he's like, I'm never going home. And he's like, if you go home, I feel like part of me will go home.
Aww.
So he's like, go home for me, dog, because if I was in your situation, I ain't fucking up.
That's right.
Up. So don't fuck up, dog. Like you're too smart. I know you. Like play it smart, dog, and get the fuck out. Because if you were in my shoes, you wouldn't like it.
For sure.
Yeah, and he was like a handful of lifers that I really, really got close with. And I always ask questions. I asked questions of people that were coming back for violations. What'd you violate for? Oh, doing this or doing that. Because I wanted to know what not to do, you know?
Good.
Yeah, I was like, shit, when I get out, I've never been out there, but what can they violate me for?
Yeah.
So I got out, did my whole parole time.
Well, I was about to ask you that. So you say you paroled from Ironwood?
Yeah.
And how was that process for you? Like adjusting to life, you know, you dealing with the probation.
That was the first time. Like I ain't gonna say that I never shed a tear. When my grandma died, she died in 2010, and
What year did you get out?
2011.
Okay.
In August, and I went in June of '96. But I would have made it out if I wasn't fucking up my time and picking up points and picking up write-ups here and there, stuff you can't get your time back. I would have been out to see her go.
That probably messed you up even more, huh?
Yeah, so I couldn't look at her photo album that they made a memorial album for months when I couldn't look at it because every time I would open it, I'd just be like, just start breaking down and shit, you know? Mm-hmm. That was my grandma. But when I finally did get the call, I remember being in my cell, and I didn't really believe it. I didn't think they were going to call me, so I was just pacing back and forth, and I knew it was my date to go, and I was just like, these motherfuckers better let me out, you know? Like, finally they called me, and I was like, yeah, I tried not to act. Everyone was like, yeah, banging on the door, because they knew I did a lot of time, so there was a lot of homies that were there that believe it or not, I thought some of them didn't want me to go. I was like, fuck, this fool's a hater, or that fool's a hater, or whatever, but a lot of these fools were happy to see me go. Not because, fuck you, get out of here, but they were like, damn, fool. Like, they would talk, like, you did a lot. When I went to the level 3, I was like one of the ones at this particular time, towards the end of my time, that was down the longest. And I still looked young, you know what I mean? And so they would, like, vibe with me like the little homie does, you know? Mm-hmm. And they'll be like, damn, fool, like, you're going home soon, or 2 weeks left, 1 week left, like telling me shit like that. And then finally when they did call me, I just heard like, sleeps, everyone banging on the door, and they're like, that's right, fool, that's right. And then I was just like, yeah, and I walked across the yard with my box. I had like a couple things. I left everything there, you know, had a couple things and stuff. And then, yeah, they finally took me. And then I remember that I got in the van and my whole family was there. Like my brother, my sisters, my mom, my stepdad, my who else? I think one of my nephews. There was like 7, 8 people that were there, and that was when I shed a tear.
I'm over here crying.
That was when
because you know, it's like I have so many friends that are doing life as well, and it's like I'm sure like when they see, like I don't know, it's like their way of the outside world is just kind of like knowing that. Damn, one of my friend just went home.
Yeah.
Like, so it just makes me feel like I just get emotional. I just can't help it. You know?
I mean, because you went through it too. So like you know, like what change is about, and like how to appreciate life. When you're young, you don't really realize that life could be good. You know.
Yeah.
So then you throw it away.
Yeah.
You throw it away because you don't
Check
realize.
the camera.
That.
So the whole family picked you up.
Yeah.
How did that go?
So that was kind of funny too, because they took me out to eat. My mom's like, "What do you want to eat? What do you want to eat?" You know.
You guys are gonna have to stop right there for a second.
Oh, perfect, because I gotta go eat.
Okay.
So your mom said, "Hey, what do you want to eat? What'd you eat for the first thing?"
So my mom likes to gamble, so she took me to a casino. Of course, she always goes with my stepdad to Vegas. We went to a casino, and then I ordered a bomb ass breakfast, like eggs, potatoes, like
everything,
all the fixins, right? And it was bomb. It was delicious. But I remember the funny thing, I needed to use the restroom. So I went to the restroom, and it'd been so long, right? And I did it, and then I'm like looking around. I'm like, where the fuck? How do you flush this thing? You know what I mean? And I'm like, how the hell do you flush it? And then I was just staring at it, and it just flushed, and I jumped back. Because I was like, what the fuck was that? Like,
you didn't know that there was automatic flushers.
I didn't know about that. So like low key, I was like, damn, that shit's haunted or what? And I went out, I told my mom, and they were laughing. They were just like, oh
they were
shit,
on you
yeah,
for
because
that.
I missed out on so much, you know? And even little things, like I would go out to eat with them, and I'll be looking at the toothpick things to get the tooth. I didn't know how to get them out. You know what I mean? Like just stuff like that. I didn't.
So basically, obviously, it took you a little while to adjust, which is so normal and understandable.
I feel like I'm still adjusting.
I believe it.
Believe it or not.
No, I believe it. I believe it. So tell me, how long after you got out did you start tattooing? Because that's what you do, and you said you started tattooing your last year and a half.
I started right away. So my former brother-in-law bought me a tattoo kit. I didn't know nobody in tattoos at the time, like nobody. I'd never been to a shop before, nothing. So I started practicing on him, and I was using the ink that came with the kit. But someone told me it was all healing like in there. So I started panicking again, like, oh shit, like I'll fuck people up out here now. But I guess it's just for like practice skin and stuff. Okay. But I was using it on his skin.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So I did that for a little while. I started like learning, going to the tattoo supply store, buying like real ink and stuff.
So because you wanted to take it serious.
Yeah, but like my mom wouldn't. I'm not gonna say she supported it. She let me tattoo people at the house and stuff, but they wanted me to get a real job. Like
obviously, all moms do.
So I got my Class A like within a month. I had my Class A.
Oh, nice.
When I got out, I had my license like a week, and my Class A like a month.
Oh, well, you're a fucking G-rate writer, so you know you knew how to write.
I didn't have to study. No, but the Class A was hard, but I got it right away. And then I started one of my buddies who I'm still friends with. I got a lot of love for it because I had no experience, and he took me on, started training me, gave me a job.
Nice.
And I started working in the truck, and then I had to do like local stuff, get paid like bottom dollar until I got off parole. And then once I got off parole, I started.
Did you ever get a violation?
No.
Oh, good. You know what? You should be so proud of yourself.
That was a mission.
No, honestly, yeah. I know.
I told myself I ain't violating.
Yes,
I didn't have no social media, nothing. I have nephews, so I have two nephews I met. Well, two nephews I met when I was in there, and a nephew and a niece that I met when I got out. They're already like 12, 13 years old.
Wow.
And I met them, and they're like, Uncle Reggie, you know what I mean? Like they knew all about me because of my sister. But I bonded with them. So my 3 nephews, they're all athletes. They all hiked, rode bikes, played basketball. One of them plays basketball. He's supposed to meet me today to play. But I bonded with them. The way I looked at it is like they're my little homies now.
That's right.
So I kicked it with them every day, went jogging with them until I got off.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Your family is what all you always wanted was your family, even before you got busted. So you used that to help you, and it helped them as well. Like, oh, my uncle's here because my uncle's been here.
But it wasn't easy.
Oh, no,
we battled too when I got out because they thought I was going to be who I was when I went in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think to the core, my belief system, my value system, like everything's the same.
Oh, for sure.
But my actions and my outlook is different, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't know that. So a lot of times they were too clamped on me. Like they didn't want me to just
and it was so annoying,
let me spread my wings and fly type of thing. Yeah, so that was hard. But now, like especially with my son being around, like that is
completely
everything. I think, yeah.
Good for you. And so what do you do? I mean, do you still tattoo? Obviously, you still tattoo.
I actually opened up my own shop.
Good for you.
Yeah, in Sun Valley.
Well, we're going to take a tour to his shop one of these. I'm going to make a vlog. I'm going to take the drive and I'm going to record myself and we're going to do all of that.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that. I never done that.
And it's only been 2 months too. So I just got out of the truck. Like I done tattoo conventions, but probably like 5 months ago.
Okay.
I stacked up a little bit of money and I opened my own tattoo shop. So that's always been a dream of mine.
And your dreams are coming true.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
oh,
I'm
that's
thankful
so
for
good.
that, you know?
Yes. You know what? I'm thankful for everything.
Yeah, for sure. Like I'm super happy. I'm in a place like, you know, I feel like I manifested a lot of stuff that's happened, including my son, including the shop, just by wanting it so bad and doing what, like if you don't know what you want, you're not going to get there.
Sure.
If you could picture what you want and you really, really want it and you really, really love it, then you could get there, you know? And that's what I feel. And I just focus on that.
Oh, well, good for you.
Yeah.
Oh, you should be proud of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am.
I am. I mean, I am proud of myself, but that's
right.
what I mean. Like, I still have the, what's it called? Like, a little bit of the dust on me from in there. You know what I mean?
It doesn't ever
like,
go away.
It doesn't ever go away.
And you don't want it to go away because it's you.
Sometimes I'll hear an alarm bell somewhere. Like, when I pick up my son from school and it sounds just like
you're
the
like,
one
oh shit!
from the
you get
pen.
on the floor?
And I'm like, no, but I do. I start looking around real quick and I'm just like, oh shit. You know?
But you're not there anymore.
No.
God.
Yeah, no, it's not. I'm not as PTSD as I used to be. Yeah.
Well, good for you.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you want to share that you haven't shared before we close up?
No, I just want to thank you. Like, I feel like you and your husband, you guys are doing a lot for people like me and everybody in the community. So I just want to say thank you to you guys.
No, thank you. I think we help each other. I feel like, you know, you help me, I help you. We all help each other. You know, like, it's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to uplift each other.
Everybody should do that.
You know, like
everybody's that does have that story and stuff. Like, you know, when we come together, maybe it will help somebody that doesn't have that
way of thinking.
That went through it, you know, that's teaching them or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have a good personality. So I think you make it easier. My palms are all sweaty in the beginning. Now they're dry.
Oh, good. I'm glad that you were able to be comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable. I'm happy.
I've been out for 13 years now.
Good for you.
And I've done one podcast with one of my homies, but it wasn't on camera. So I've never really wanted to do that, but I'm glad that I did do it.
Well, I'm happy that you came to mine and I was your first one.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, thank you.
No, thank you. And again, thank you for coming on Indicted TV.
Okay, thank you for having me.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and follow us on Instagram.